important contest is 100% going to be Arcadia, as it always is. That Volpine Essence is an absolute game changer, as we're going to be having a look at Wolves and Wash going head-to-head. Wash not able to find a weapon. However, the slap's coming through. Interrupt XCM before he can use his. And Wash with the slap into the F2 finds the kill onto Night HQ, because Wolves having that player take the original damage early on, having to back up for a heal, meant that there was an absence of numbers in the front line.
Yeah, big chances here for Wash to get eliminated, but he's going to be looking for the dash LMB, scare rushing in and out. Kind of hoping to see, because no grapples on hand makes this very difficult for himself. Now, a parry in the background, Wolves going to see ZK go ahead and say sayonara, but a parry like that from Wash, forcing the Solar Jellyfish to go through, or the Solar Firefly, that's going to be that Jellyfish that gets that poison tick damage. And it's going to be the death sentence. TE Wash goes ahead, gets the elimination. Bowda and OUG dropping straight through into the heart of Imperium. OUG spawned in the west side towards the Hall of Worship. Now they're heading interim to the Imperium for the building. The Hall of Eternity is going to be our contested zone. And we still have a chance of seeing a third party come here, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, Bowda's you looking for the charged RMBs on the fan, as is the Takeda Way. Is going to get hit into that Tesla ultimate, and the enchantment is going to come on through, setting Jinyu up for the meter dump before the Temu Wisp can see him in place. And that is going to be the Takeda now going down. SS, however, on that Viper, 10% away from the V1 and the damage reduction. Going to go for the scale rush reposition as Bowda's Euron tries to hold down the fort with the Kurumi. 2 versus 1. They will be able to find the kill. That is double res speed now. Picks one up for Bowda's U, and Bowda should be able to try and find where that Viper has run off to, as in the meantime, Alliance are going to be hunting down towards WBG.
Yeah, Lion taking the chance with the NY7 F1 initiated. Now Jing looks to try to go for a slap. He's successful with it. Now looking towards that blistering edge, a little bit dangerous for his team to go through it, because Revenge at a low enough deficit to just get one RB set up from Revenge is going to be enough to kill, but the teams are looking to space out. F2 invested from the Balda. Now the Kurumi ult comes out. Revenge had to have used it. We're at 60% for NY7 for his Rage Bar. Temi Wisp goes ahead, deducts the energy from the area. WBG back off. They want to make sure they can reinitiate this fight under their own terms after a full reset.
Yeah, they're going to have that Tianhai ultimate in a matter of moments, so it is going to be pretty strong for them, especially since Yuma is a little bit away from that Temi ultimate. And you can see that Alliance very much know what's going to be coming back in line. They're going to be repositioning themselves so that there's a lot of buildings to LOS break cover away from these potential grabs if this Tianhai does find that Vajra state. However, the Spear has been able to find the Dragon Slayers into Nezhaz. Walking out with his ultimate is going to be looking for the grabs. Almost gets NY7. Will be able to catch the Kurumi. Revenge is going to be held into the hand. The slam is going to come through, allowing Walker's V2 to start healing up. And WBG's Jing as well with that Hardy ultimate is managing to chase down where these players get thrown through. The Temi ultimate comes out, but it's a little bit too late. And WBG's Walker just plucks another one up before putting himself onto the second level of this building. But this is what we were talking about, right? Alliance repositioning to this space limits the amount of players that they lose.
Yeah, and now you're going to see NY7, Yuma both splitting out here between each other. NY7 making sure he went straight towards the west side into the area where Sleepwalker, or he's just going to go ahead and chase down Yuma. He knows exactly where the time he went, knowing the direction, even though he went to the second floor and dissipated north. They're going to be chasing him through the near to the Jedi Outlook just to make sure they can try to get Yuma out of the game for those extra bit of gold. Because right now, even with 10k Dark Tide coins, getting those eliminations, okay, what a bow shot.
Oh no.
All right, that's nasty. And that's going to give WBG the reason for that chase. Now they're going to have enough chances of going towards Jada Outlook, because it looks like JDG, even though NY7's on the vicinity, he's looking to be kiting through here. In the meanwhile, FBX taking fights, Balda ultimate is out. EWG are going to go on the offensive as the Tianhai comes out.
Oh, Xiao Hu, he manages to iframe cancel out of the Viper ultimate with the Vajra state transformation, and that is going to be Xi going incredibly low. Tesla ultimate is going to be invested trying to limit the amount of uptime that FBX has with this transformed state. He will be able to find a grab, but the enchantment is there to stop him from being able to find the slam. He's looking for the double, and unfortunately he gets a little bit too greedy and the player is able to slip out from his hands. He's got to go for the slam now, but the Witch and Teleport is going to deny the slam and the subsequent heal, and EWG's Cookie coming through with the clutch TP sets them up to take the Vajra down.
Dang, F3 comes out here. Xi gets the elimination. SS1 dropping through for the party. No invite. They brought no drinks, no food, no desserts. And they're going with a Moonbane. I lied. They brought the whole shebang. And now it's going to be their rumble to go off with the blue focuses. Now that the Moonbane comes out, EWG having no escape. Wuchen Port being consumed and being spotted due to the Beacon of Light. SS1 knows that his full capability. They're just making this their own. 4 eliminations on the board for SS1 right now. Romance going to be spawning here in a 2.5 minutes mark. So we're going to be hopefully to see whether or not these teams get enough gear beforehand or even making their way to a shop, at least obtaining a purple armor to be purchased before the next engagements to happen.
WBG potentially facing up against JDG. Those cannon shots doing a lot of work against those blue armors. Tutik with that Zai shows that JDG, tradition as always, have been able to get their hands up over towards Arcadia on that Volpine Essence. They're not going to want it to pop before they go into a Realm of Yang, but Tutik closes up the distance with the halberds, puts the pressure onto Walker, who has burned out that F1. They're going to be able to get him low enough to force the transformation, and it is going to be Tutik with the Fire Tick burn coming through to make sure that even if a grab does come through, Walker's healing effectiveness is cut in half. The Venom Tip on the repeating crossbow, and this Tianhai is getting absolutely melted.
Now is a chance here for that V1 from the Visiting. It might not even be enough. Coming out here, Tutik going to get slammed down here. The healing from Sleepwalker at around 3/5 of his HP bar is going to go ahead, find a nice double foul the coil, go for the double grab though, and it's not going to be enough. Not enough time for that Tianhai ultimate to be available. Sleepwalker looks towards that horizontal longsword beam and he gets caught. And that's going to be JDG picking up these eliminations. #1 so far. Hottie's going crazy in the background as Jing is going to be swiping left to right. And now Wolves have arrived to the party and looking to try to take this fight. A-Shao goes ahead, activates his combo breaker, and then sees the other team gets eliminated. That's #2 for JDG. Wolves is going to be waiting this fight out. As long as that Hottie is so active, they will not push this out. They want to see what's available. The F2's down from Zai. This gives them a perfect opportunity to rise into the occasion.
Here's Wolves, though, not going for the full commitment just yet. JDG not getting the opportunity to really go through the spoils of war that they were able to secure up against WBG. And it actually looks like Wolves are just using this to pick up some of the loot that they were lacking. Remember, Wolves did have a rough drop up against one of the teams when they took that immediate first fight. So they are still in semi-recovery mode. As going to be having a look at JL, who are also currently recovering. Blue armors across the board for this team is not what you want to see when that Vajra is so dependent on the scaling so that his ultimate has enough HP to be able to weather the storm of the repeating crossbow. I theorized that repeated crossbow meta would come back in with the Tianhai making a comeback because Venom Tip on that repeater is really easy to get a hold of since it's only purple rarity, and it's an absolute death sentence to these Tianhais who don't have either a Kurumi to heal and cleanse that debuff or a Temi ultimate with Sandformers to be able to block it from proccing in the first place.
Yeah, and even with Temi too, right? You see the Wisp throws come out and an immediate crossbow swap. Even in the case scenario, the players, even if they miss it, they're automatically thinking that they're going to go ahead and just swap. They swap to the crossbow regardless because they know the guarantee of getting that barb bolts, or not barb bolts, with the poison bolts to be applied on top of that. It's crazy. Leo with an Assault Smolder, a Hex Harmony Spear, and an Advanced Heal, a Scatter Shot for TE Wash, Scene 14 with Explosive Armor, and an Assault Smolder, a Scion Fang, no, Aerial Rend, and a Hex Harmony Scatter Shot. These guys are a little bit stacked for those Spear Jades, not having a chance of really having what the necessity comes through with the Gold Jades, but hey, that's what happens. Purple Armor's on standby. Hoping to see that Advanced Heal not be utilized, or as the enemy teams would hope for, but a Cablum on ZDI for X1 starting at this first round.
Yeah, but they've got the Kurumi, and the Kurumi does struggle up against that Tianhai. LYD still not being forced into utilizing his ultimate. T very much going to try and do everything in their power to force that one early so they can try and reposition around it. Hardy Cube does come on through. LYD now brought low with that pole sword. Is going to go for the V2. Kurumi Armor Circle comes out. That's the first one, but here's the problem. The Kurumi just gets immediately ignored because LYD uses a jump and hops right out of the area of effect, and now TE are down one player. Hardy ultimate still in full swing. ZDI looking for the spears. LYD's going to be able to find another grab onto TE's 14, holds in position for the headshot to come on through before X1 ZDI with the charged RMB on that fan catches them when they're still in flop state and can't dodge out of the damage, and X1 are just making this composition look oh so clean.
Yeah, Watch being the first one out, Leo being the last one remaining, coming out with the Kurumi, losing both the DPS support coming through. Now it's just a chance to just buy and burn out for time outside of Romy Yang. So we know the victory is going to be going towards Bauda in the case since they defeated SS1. They have themselves a gold spear to be picked up on you. Man's a menace with the spear, and he pulls out a blue sap instead. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This man, he's not afraid. But one thing that comes into play for it is just having the chances of using, you know, if it comes down from peak, right? If he's using the dagger just to keep the momentum going through, he could have a secondary weapon on the backside. It could be a dual blitz, it could be dual halberds to try to connect towards and getting those staggers, or just catching somebody in midair to make sure with that horizontal blue focus from the dagger and then keeping them aloof. But realizing this, Draco Storm to be coming out from OUG, as it most likely is from the Spirit Well. They're going to be making their way towards in terms of just looting out as much as they can now. Of course, 2 blue armors, not a lot of gold, not a lot of Dark Tide coins on standby. All ults are ready to go because of this Draco Storm. But more importantly, taking the offensiveness of using said Draco Storm on a Viper Witch and Tessa comp comes into, you know, multi-factor ways, especially at this point after first Romy Yang fights, because Vermilion teams can just go ahead, full send, and not even have to use ults. Just expend them out, try to burn them out in terms of ability usages, and then see what happens next, because then they can go to soul form, see if the fights are still occurring, and just go ahead and space out towards the next Romy Yang, dependency on whether or not they were intending to burn it in the first place.
I mean, Dracostone for OUG is really good at this time too, because they know that these teams are going to have Yang depletion, right? So if you're looking with a Witch and Viper Tessa composition for a fight that's already going on, and you have Dracostorm, you know you're going to be taking on 6 players, at least, minimum, right? Especially since all of these teams are kiting over towards the Imperium, trying to figure out where this massive big fight is going to take place for these Yang depletion teams to try and go head-to-head to cleanse. And because of this, we're actually seeing a lot of these teams not going towards Imperium now. They rest towards the outer edges of the zone in the hopes that they're going to run into another team that has Yang depletion, so they can have an enclosed fight, a 3 versus 3, without having to worry about either the Vermilion Birds teams coming on through with the legendary weapons, or potentially getting third-partied with a Viper Tessa Wu Chang composition. As you can see, like SS1, they have Yang depletion, but they're heading in the opposite direction to Imperium.
Yeah, and in terms of the Twilight's Pass, right, passing by the Honor Temple, SS1's going to be coming through. JDG, TE, they are here as well. They are on the southwestern side of the Twilight's Pass, and they are all spawning. This is going to be a wild haymaker of oh my goodness. Okay, so Longsword comes through with the purple Longsword rarity. We better not throw 1.0s out here, or 1, 2, 3. You know, I ain't gonna say anything about here. JDG are completely making this into their own terrain. They want to make sure the fight's happening in their territory, and they're pushing as far away as possible to make sure TE can take the chase. Meanwhile, though, we got SS1 up against OUG. Sand Cypher versus Viper Witch and Tessa.
Yeah, SS coming in with that Viper V1. Might be able to find the stun onto, yeah, SS1's Zen 1 is going to get staggered. We are going to, however, see OG not really getting to capitalize until just now with that Temi ultimate. Pulsed R&B is going to come on through, just buying the spacing for the Wu Chen to be able to set up that TP. As OUG understood that Dracostorm was about to run out, they did not want to take a fight against the Sand Siphon composition, with that buff now being removed, as we're going to head back and see JDG now going head-to-head against TE. Like you said, TE repositioning this fight entirely. Kurumi ultimate is going to come out. Matari ultimate has also come in through, so both of these teams ripping through a lot of their sustainability before the Zai actually commits these ultimates. Two-tick just holding onto that V2 for as long as possible, looking instead for the Dragon Slayers into Nessus to be able to cleave down multiple players of TE at the same time. But TE's Wash now is going to go for his ultimate. Two-tick holds on to his to get his ultimate activation second to gold frame focus through that first fire tick cone and get the F2 recast to put pressure onto TE. Wash's players behind and away from the Zai.
Now, Matari is going to be going ahead, back and forth. There's a nice ensnare to catch all 3 of TE. Now up to 2 take the back off here, getting sustained from a zipping F1, and now is a chance between both of these eyes to end their ultimates with full, with full shebangs with gold focuses. There it is. Titus denied the parry, couldn't get it. And now it's the turnaround. JDG are at the point of no HP. Matari from 14 comes straight through, dashes straight past his head, and gets himself the elimination, and picking up the solo along the way. Now Jing stuck in the zone here, getting eliminated. TE turned this fight in their favor. 5 eliminations, but OUG come back, and now it's up to JDG to try to find a workaround, as Speaky's the last one remaining, but that remaining depletion in 10 minutes or 10 seconds comes out. He's not going without a fight. F2 from Atari. Jingyu is going to see it come out with the halberds as a last hit confirmation, and that's going to be the team going down.
Yeah, OUG identified there's no teams fighting in central belt of the map. They must be fighting on the outer edges of it, and they come through and they gatekeep. TE now looking to try and find that recovery, but Bida also showing up to the mix with the same idea as OUG is going to actually allow TE to reposition. And if you want to know why TE were able to overcome JDG in that 3 versus 3, it's just the power of the Kurumi versus the Zipping. The second that one of those TE players got almost low enough to go down, the snap of that Teva comes on through, and the Kurumi gives 70% damage reduction, but 4 seconds, which allows TE to just get the full reset and absolutely converge onto the scattered off players of JDG.
Yeah, I was about to mention, Bowda Yu has the Jade of Destiny gold staff with the jabbing in his possession, and they also have the Kabloom, they have the Sunwing shots, they can go crazy with that. NY7 with the Dragon Like might dropping down through for Wolves and a Benthic Descent in combination with Dragon War. Wow, they're going to be going ahead with that elimination. Nothing is going to be up the matter. They're getting that soul. They're getting this Spirit Wheel for free. This is going to be Revenge getting upgrade for the gear. And as that fight sorts out, we're going to see X1 fighting up against JL. The Ouroboros comp comes out here for the Realm of Yang, and this is going to be where possibly TXJ with a Rampage, but more importantly, Swift Edge from DVB and seeing if he can just go ahead and just connect it. But Tianhai off the rip, going to be trying to look for the line of sight.
Yeah, 2 legendary weapons on the side of X1, so they are definitely more stacked in terms of that gear loadout. JL's one thing, looking for the drop down R&B, will be able to find it onto that Valda, but Cavalry Bloom is going to be in the back of ZD Ice Pockets with those blue dual blades. OID now stepping up to the plate, trying to reposition and keep them off of his Valda. One thing, managing to force that Hardy reposition out early from the Valda side is getting currently focused on down by the Hardy. He's going to utilize his Hardy's Cube to reposition into a space to throw out that R&B on the fan. This is the first Valtra transformation that we're going to be seeing that V2 come on through. One thing, not able to find the first grab because of the pillars in the way. LYD going for a late transformation. The Valda Spear also trying to come on through. LYD hasn't been able to find a grab at all, but neither has One Thing as he puts himself up onto the pillar and provides enough space and pressure from the other Tianhai that his players are able to group up and take down the first player in this Realm of Yang. But now he has to look immediately at LYD to stop the grab from coming on through. He's been able to do just that. The F1 comes on out, and JL's One Thing finds the clutch.
It was a wild haymaker chase to get all those golden weapons, and they came through. JL picked up all that loot. Now they're going to get themselves a gold armor, picking up a Pride's Fall, and as well as getting a soft step Gecko Foot if it comes to their, for the value for the Scare Rush damage to be increased for Gecko. But gold nunnies in the mix, dangerous combination. Draco Storm picked up for that full refresh. 6 eliminations JL's taken outside that roaming. Now it comes down towards JL and Team Bowda, but also Alliance with the buffs. Alliance taking the White Tiger's prowess from the Spirit Well, but Bowda most likely earning their free roaming Yang to come out. And these fights come in terms of Imperium. This is going to be where we're entering towards Imperium, the Ancient Stockade, as an area of control for the Purity Chamber as well. Map selection right now for the players is going to be a lot of terrain grid for the Tianhais. The OBS comp may not have as much of a chance and opportunity for doing the dealing out the damage, but since if there's a V1 Hottie, they'll find the escape patterns to be better in their favor as long as it doesn't come through with another team waiting for that teleport to have happened.
Well, this isn't the greatest composition for the Tianhai to be up against. Viper is pretty much tailor-made to counter that Tianhai, but beggars cannot be choosers, and EWG, not really scaled up, are looking like a tasty morsel for X1 to be able to chomp on through. In fact, EWG understand the differential between themselves and the team that they're fighting and immediately pull the cord of that Witch End teleport, but the Hardy ultimate is still coming into play. Serve, they don't even need to reposition, they just get to see where that Witch End teleports to, and off goes XLY.
Yeah, and LYD making sure to try to iframe inside of a building as a Tianhai. Bro, you are stuck in a box. There's nothing you can do here. And now it's going to be him just hopping around, going for melee grabs. And now a Tested Enchant comes out. Might be a death sentence for all the teams in here because LYD gets its time enchant. That's a free spam. And guess what? Tianhai comes through here, gets the deformation. It's a free blue focus fest unless he doesn't have a combo breaker. He does. Now there's gonna be a chance between whether or not NY7 gets out. Dragon Like might successfully knock up. Does it? Has to reposition towards it and making sure that that Cicada Fury and Blast comes out in full effect and just keeping it in place. LYD is deleted. Alliances pick up the 3rd elimination. So will pick up armor swap out, and that's gonna be a free armor swap for the team as they can reposition towards the Hollow Worship. As it turns out, everyone wanted to dissipate, and that's fair enough. X1 XLY is the last one remaining. He's got 3 minutes on the clock, and whether or not he's going to survive out here for placement, he has 3 minutes before it's too late anyhow.
Yeah, Alliance are looking crazy clean in terms of just being able to coordinate between that Dragon like into Benthic into either just pure and shove extension, or as we saw again, just a little bit of that Dragon's Roar coming on through from those nunchucks as XLY unfortunately is going to have to burn that combo breaker out early, turns around with the R&B trying to catch on to these players from JL, but there is absolutely nothing he can do. And JL will be able to pick up, is that a third legendary weapon that JL have been able to get their hands on too? So we're going to have a look at a replay and see how exactly they were able to get their hands on one of them inside a realm of Yang. One thing, getting hit into by the Zai F2 into the R&B on those halberds is going to be able to utilize that Hardy Cube to reposition away from the Zai. Ultimate dodges the F2 and manages to find the spacing to go for that transformation. Is it going to be a double grab, or is it just going to be a slam into the Hardy follow through? His VVV also still has the ultimate, but the Venom tip from that repeater crossbow is absolutely brutal when you can see his health bar going on down.
Yep.
One thing has been able to find one grab, gets a second, and there it is, the double slap into Volda, spear, regrab, and just holds down Jing so that everyone from JL can swap to the ranged weapons and melt him down low enough that the single slam is going to be able to take him down.
And another key point to notice is that Tuesday lost that both lines as a result of this fight. So now it's no longer in the rotation. No one's going to get a last-second ditch effort of having 1,000 health to come back to their bodies as they lose themselves in the mix. JL in the mix of also in that last Romy Yang. And that was the first Romy Yang that we just saw for the replay. The second Romy Yang, and they're hatching as much golden weapons in rotation. They're just throwing them on the ground and just swapping them out.
What is this pasta puzzle with legendary weapons?
I'm saying, hey, yo, let me get a bite of that. Puts it to the floor, eats the whole steak. Like, wait, what? Taking it, going into in the fight as NY7. Spearwell was their main point of staying here for the whole time, but the Tianhai literally counteracts, and another Tianhai to show up and just being a menace. WBG Sleepwalker trying to go in and try to disrupt this effort.
Oh, he got a grab onto WBG's Asia, who has to burn that Volda F2 to reposition so that one thing doesn't get a reverb. JL, however, did burn that Tianhai ultimate very early, and you can see all of these teams. One of the changes that came on through is that these teams can see the progress of that capture, knowing that it's not going to be enough. JL have to reposition, then burn that ultimate, but now Alliance with that Sand Siphon, with the highest staying power of Sand Siphon's rotation, are free to move into the mix, and the absent space that the Tianhai transformation has left.
Yeah, Alliance trying to go for the res. You're not going to go ahead and get right back up. It's Kid Ultimate is still available for NY7 to utilize. Now it's going to be OEG's chance. They catch a huge stun into the enchant, deletion onto Bowda U, deletion onto Bowda Peak, and now the Wuchen port to get the team out because they cannot stay there for much longer. This is going to be a bloodbath right now. And as this Spirit Well gets contested, just like what we love to see, the contesting of the Spirit Well. NY7 making sure that that Fearin was delayed as long as possible. Now all the ultimates from enemy teams are still to be determined on whether or not who has something available or who's going to be the next PvP. He's a little bit different in a dangerous spot right now.
Yeah, had to go for that Volda ultimate, catches the Spirit onto NY7. Wash also trying to come in through with that Zai V2. Remember, Spirit Well, if it doesn't get captured within 180 seconds, despawns, but Alliance investing that Temi ultimate might have done enough to be able to cap it. Yep, there we go. Buff comes on through, Luke gets picked up, and Alliance with Draco Storm are going to run this lobby for the next 113 seconds.
Dragon-like Mites, Overcomer, Dragon War, Mortal Defiance to be picked up, in the gold fan in the mix. NY7 looking a little bit too stacked here. Fong is going to go ahead for the ultimate. Launches out, but Takeda, NY7 look to reposition, try to go for the staggers against VVV. The armies come out. Teammate is captured. The tether is active. The Kurumi trying to keep them going through and staying alive here. NY7 gets caught by another RMB from that gold spear. Kurumi ultimate is necessary, but this is where that leap actually comes out. Get him out of that circle. That's exactly where the Ouroboros comes into play. No regrab. Temi circle and play in action as Yuma has to make sure he stays safe, because now that Bang finds himself outside of the Temi circle, the deformation is going to be noticed by the whole lobby, because you can see TE. They're looking to try to go in for the invasion here as they're just staying low-key in these next moments.
Yeah, however, if TE do try and aggress onto JL, they invite Alliance to come in for that third party with the Draco Storm, which is a state that no one in this lobby wants to have to go through, and it is going to be that Moonbane also coming on through, giving a lot of these teams a respite. They can put themselves between that AoE and Alliance with the Draco Storm buff to make sure that they're not the next team that Alliance try and move on to. And that should be a little bit of a lull in terms of the actions of areas. So JL very much out of the frying pan, not so much into the fire, but into the slow burn as we wait and see what all of these teams reposition into.
Yeah, going to be a chance scene here. Jinyu finding a meteor as one of his jades, as well as a scatter shot and a fire arrow's target lock. So whether or not he's going to be looking for the range in terms of getting the proximity shots, it's up to him. Martial art will form hook for Fong, taking in a soothing boon, a poison splash, and a rampage. VVV having himself the soft step, but also a swift edge, Hexa Harmony Spear, Juggernaut, and an Overlord Jade. Gonna see Prideful from TXJ, Sunwing shot, and just going ahead and just making sure that momentum goes through, because they see 2E and they want to make sure they can have as much action, violence, and just damage dealt to try to build a rage bar. Fong is at 29% right now. Going for the cannon shots and try to go for the box shots. He's going to go ahead and making sure that happens. Sign Fang from Sleepwalker for the Juggernaut level 1 for Ace Shao, as well as an Alchemy not to be built up. WBG not so stacked after all, but all it takes is one swift moment of a kill execution monitor, and they're looking to contest the Spear as the Mystic Might is going to be available.
That is a very early Tianhai V2 to come on through. We saw what happened last time. That was a very early Tianhai ultimate coming on through, but at the moment it doesn't really look like anyone is actually going to try and contest this. So Walker actually utilizing that Tianhai, understanding that if he went for the virtual transformation early before the other Tianhais were in position, it wouldn't be that mirror 1v1 duel that sort of elongated that previous contest, as WBG should be able to find the loot upgrade if they decide to actually cap the Spirit Well, because the longer they try and hold it, the more duration that buff is going to have. However, the closer these other teams are pushed into potentially going for that contest, no one's looking at the Spirit Well though, so because everyone is looking at just being able to capture onto these players that are a little bit late in terms of that reposition, and that is perfect for the Valda because you don't know when to dodge the Spear.
Yeah, an instant investment for that ball that's going to go through. The connections come out. NY7, last one left alive for Alliance. 3 eliminations for the team so far. F3 is avoided, and NY7 kiting around on this wall as often as he can towards the west side. He has to make sure that he doesn't get caught by a grapple in terms of getting caught by a musket shot, randomly strayed, and now has to look to try to kite around as long as he can. 85% on that rage bar. He's going to be only having a level 1 V3 ultimate. He's only going to have 3 Fury Blasts to come out here. F1's up. He's got himself a purple focus if he needs to do it, but he's going to top of the cannon shot. A wild shot that makes the team that hit that is going to look towards hunting him down here. Look at that grapple. It's immediate access in terms of doing that. Mystic Might in the hands of WBG as going to be going ahead. NY7 gets that Fury Blast just ready to go here, and he looks to try to come contest this area on top of the bridge, but it looks like Sleepwalker finds himself the RMBs. The Fury Blast comes out just in time. We got one last one for NY7 to get some sustain, and that's going to be it. Looks to scale, Wretch, looks to kite, and tries to stay alive, but the F1 in the midair, he's going to be free real estate as it's hunting season, and we're switching out those shots. Cookie finds a final hit.
EWG's Cookie with the bow. 16 players still in this lobby, but that is about to significantly drop. However, we still have 2 Tianhai teams in this lobby alive, and 2 Valdas as well. So are we going to see these teams prioritizing looking at the Valda, looking at the Tianhai, forcing the ultimate so that they don't win heal off, or is everyone just going to be too preoccupied trying to keep themselves alive with all of this pressure coming in through from the cannons, which is exactly what WBG is trying to ignite. They're not looking for their ultimate cycles until now. They were able to force a lot of these teams away from them so that Walker had that freedom of space to be able to move, but now with the 2 Tianhais coming on through, the Vipers have to reactively go for that V1, and one thing gets stunned into the Venom tip. He's about to go down.
He's definitely going to be taking this into the effort. The V1 Hottie comes in clutch. He gets the high ground, tries to drop down. V2 Balda for VVB from JL is going to be going ahead and being anticipated, but Sleepwalker finds that grab. Hopefully elimination gets Cookie in the zone. Not going to be happening. He leads straight forward, but WBG Jing finds the kill instead in the semicircle. Insult to injury. Tessa and Chance towards the zone. Sleepwalker has to resell himself and avoids a second Tessa and Chance, but a parry in the background with these players. It's going to be coming out to whether or not we get a one-hit confirmation for the last hit confirmation for the kill, or rather, we're going to invest everything right now. V2 Wu Chen comes out. Wash is going to have free real estate against Liwei. Liwei goes down. Wash goes ahead. Go focus the opposite direction. Soflin picked up and looking whether or not JL One Fang can find the mix and just double dashing out, because those omnidirections from Zai are nothing to stop that.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, WBG still have that Volta V2. Asia is playing. The floor is lava above the heads of all of these players. So too is JL's TXJ and JL's VVV, who is on that Volta trying to live for the heal-off situation to be won by the ultimate activation. Walker with the parry will be able to find the repulse damage with the RMB on that fan, forcing the combo breaker out of the Temi early on. WBG not going to over-aggress, not going to take advantage of that. Very much content to just keep themselves up onto this high ground so they can provide that cover for Walker to build back into this Tian High V2. And now he's got it back on the mix. Center of the storm he goes, looking to try and find these grabs onto these players. Has to make sure that he doesn't go into the range of the flame to come through. Finds the grab onto TE's wash. Doesn't overstay the hold either. He doesn't look for the double grab. Goes for the immediate slam to get that heal. Finds the reverb onto wash and pushes him out of the zone with that throw. Gets one. Looks for the second. Might be able to find it before the ultimate drops out, but knows that he doesn't have enough time and just commits to the single throw onto TXJ as Walker is utilizing the entirety of his ultimate to push these players out of the storm and into the corruption 6 damage as long as possible to try and keep that Volta V2 situation for WBG's Asia. The victory potentially there for WBG. VVV with the exact same idea. So we're going to go to a heal off. Which Volta's going to be able to win? VVV with the spin into the flamer. He finds another kill, but WBG's Jing is still going to be able to find damages through the poison splash, and it's a draw.
It's a draw. I think it's a 3-way tie. So now we're going to not even get second place points. We're going to go straight to third. But JL had the more eliminations. They're going to get the MVP for this round. And they're still, nifty in terms of the top 3 right now for the scorekeeping. So if this gets them enough chances to just like, okay, find the flow. That worked out. That worked out. We like this comp. We like this comp. And this is going to be a great comp to see coming out in terms of all off as well as more style and seeing that performance value as it's still in its birthing stages. Try to see about, riding his first first bicycle ride and seeing about the training wheels taking off because that's where Jacob's going to showcase. We're still on the training wheel arc.
And get themselves their ultimate as quickly as possible. Other teams prioritizing Salvation Podium. FPX prioritizing holding onto that Ballista will be able to find a couple of hits as OUG also tried to find the interruption. Zhao on that Zai, able to come in through with the F2 connection before OUG could push the Kurumi off of the hot seat. And it is going to be a duel now between him and Jinyu. I say that, but FTX is actually repositioned a little bit too quickly, serve. And OUG, despite missing one player, have been able to put enough pressure onto FPX to force them into the waiting arms of Powder, who'd looked for the timing attack, landing just south of Salvation Podium to be able to third party in on the 2 teams.
Exactly. Yeah, they took the Ember Hawk gold stashes and purple armor, blue longsword. This is used best case scenario. Has one grapple on the dream, goes for the toothpick there to Carousel, making sure he can go for the RMBs. Yep, no, we double missed that. That's okay. And we missed it. Okay, listen, I ain't seen nothing. I closed my eyes. I'm throwing my dart at the board. Yeah, look, see, they got the kill. That's easy peasy. Coming out here.
It's canon, okay? Viper has a blindfold. Serve, that's all it is. Low accurate Viper.
I'm across the street. No, you're not. You're actually crossing the sidewalk. We're going to have to see. Battle U has himself, though, 1 elimination for himself, 2 for the team. Yu's going to see the chance for using F3 again. RMB comes out. We are seeing about that Kurumi to get her out the game before she get the res, and a Tesla and chance to confirm this kill. High investment for this, considering not all the ultimates already, except for the Wuchen, or except for the Viper right now, as Yu it builds it up. Yaron may be looking for it in a second, and we're going to find the mid-air hits as you see Jing Yu, the next one to be eliminated, and that's going to be elimination for Bowda. They can go straight to the shop, but I'm pretty sure the Moonbane's already been purchased out as it's being used right now in that time.
No, I mean, they can solve the puzzle, though, which means legendary weapon early off of the Rippers. JDG do have Moonbane currently active, so no other team will be able to utilize it. Alliance repositioning so they don't have to take the fight with the additional AoE pressure coming on through. However, Yuma, a little bit behind his teammates, is getting jumped on by JDG. Jing, with that F1, has not got the ultimate up just yet, is looking for the jump LMBs, dodges out of the Tesla ultimate as Alliance actually kite over towards that Forbidden Seal and throw it down so that this monk does not get the ability to utilize that ultimate to get his health reset. If this fight goes a little bit too long, and JDG actually having to back off because of this.
Yeah, 87% so far for Jing. He's calling out for Kiki because he makes sure that the ultimate and the Forbidden Seal is one thing. Jing's almost a ultimate ready time, and we're outside of the Forbidden Seal, and there's a lot of flat ground here except for the Manticore Arena. We're going to see Two-Tick looking ahead and trying to be aggressive. Backed off here. Yuma's going to be having the Salvation, the Wuchen shield walls. Now, JDG opting to fight inside said Forbidden Seal. No test enchant can come through unless it's going to be from the outside, so it's really a position sake. NY7 has fully ultimate available. F1's available for Yuma in just a moment, but there's the V1 coming out here from the corner side, and they're going to find a nice parry. NY7 finds the perfect stun here here, get the elimination on the Xing. Xing goes down here. JDG gonna be going down a teammate for that Vajra, and now NY7 looks to try to go for the cleanup as they find Two-Tick into the corner with 1 R&B. That's all we're gonna need here, as long as you can see whether or not Two-Tick can survive here for much longer, because a full team is ready to go for striking.
I mean, a full team might well roll up on the horizon if Alliance don't finish off this fight fast enough. That Forbidden Seal is an absolute signal flare to everyone in the area that there's a fight going on. And this is not good for Alliance. That's 2 Tesla ultimates having to be invested to be able to tie off all of the ends of that fight. They've got to loot up and reposition immediately because they are so vulnerable if another team tries to collapse onto them right now.
Yeah, we're not that far away from the end of the dunes, and Fortress Kaviani is enough safe to get loot as a reposition. Bauda, though, takes a spear from the Salvation Podium puzzle, getting it completed after the victories, and still looking to try to hunt down here. Remember, TE straight into the Imperial Village, whether or not they're going to go to Ice Shard Lake and just make their way in and breaking all these boxes along the way towards the Altar Tranquility. Bauda has the grapples to kind of work around and seeing about chasing 1 person or 2. Quarry is where we're going to see the next nearest, teammates to be in the proximity, I should say, for teams. SS1 as well as OUG. OUG opting in towards the Imperial Village, so it's going to be 1 case, but SS1 are right there on the Quarry, playing that Xiphon picks and having at least 1 purple armor on the standby for the team given to Ling. Jade's going to be giving out towards having a Phantom set to be built out here, a Sunwing shot to be come through, and a Tuna to be on standby for passive sustain for the armor. Team's going to be making sure and trying to get as much loot before the next engagement, and this is where we're going to see OUG working in terms of the Sand Siphon comp. Not having level 2 V3, but it is close enough to where, as you can probably tell, OUG SS is not too far away from SS1's position.
No, they're also not too far away from Ballista, which is something that SS1 are going to have to take into account. It is going to be SS moving pretty far ahead of the rest of his team. No, there we go. They do have the backup right there. A lot of a slower start, though, in comparison to the first lobby. You really can tell that we have 5 Tianhai teams because every single one of them is not looking to take fights. They're just wanting to slowly scale up so that they can pick up enough money to be able to purchase out some of those purple armors, get them onto their Tianhais ASAP before the first realm of Yang comes through. As every single one of those Tianhai teams had the option of going Salvation Podium, could have gone for that early legendary weapon, but they understood that there were Viper Tesla Wuchen teams that would be looking to hawk that position down and third party through. So when we saw the fight on Salvation Podium, there wasn't a single Tianhai involved. Every single other one of these teams were just more than content to slowly burn through some of these loot pickups away from the pressures of running into a Viper Tesla Wuchen composition early, because Tianhai is a late game composition. He's always been a late game composition. Unlike the Zai, where it's you get 1 set of purple armor and 1 set of purple weapons and you're good to go, Tianhai needs a lot more care.
Yeah, and TE actually rotated from Imperial all across the northern edge of the map, breaking everything along our sights can see, making their way towards Yutron Ruins, but towards the Ice River, having towards the Mystic Forest. We're going to see Bauda Yu looking for the F3 as that Tessa Enchant is good for 2. And we're looking for the Scare Rush. The Hottie Ultimate's out to be invested. The V1 for the Viper Ultimate is going to deny as much as this chance is coming in from Jing. If he can't iframe through, it's not going to be enough. 2 taking a tie here. 1 R&B, all his health is gone from 1 blue vertical focus. Jing is a lesser of the known to come through, and the Balder Spears might be enough to come out, but I don't think it's enough. The second Tessa Enchant is confirmed, and now it's up to whether or not this Tianhai can make it turn around in this fight as he gets caught to the enchant.
Oh, good mitigation coming through with the Valda F2 to stop the Nessas from cutting through all of these players of JDG. Jing has been able to find 1 grab, but Tutik is down and Kiki is out of the ultimate, so it is going to allow Bauda to reposition without having to worry about getting CC'd into the subsequent follow-through. And this is unfortunately one of the problems with this composition. So it relies on the Tianhai and the Valda being able to utilize their ultimates at the same time, and JDG without those ultimates are going to fall to Bauda. It's just a matter of cleanup right now, as with that parry into the R&B overhead from that spear, JDG's Kiki is unfortunately going to go down.
Yeah, and the team's gonna get eliminated as a result. Bauda taking in 7 eliminations in total right now, rotating into this area of opportunity because now Ramyang is spawning out towards where TE resides, into the Ramyang towards in terms of the Plume Castle. There's a Moonbane popping off here. X1 is going to be popping that one through most likely, most definitely, as a Valiant Challenger is active within their own range. WBG and SS1 going to be north town towards in terms of the end of the dunes with EWG. The contesting for Bauda is nothing to be compared. If they're taking this Ramyang,
they're going, yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them because listen, if a Tianhai comes through and they feel like, yeah, we can fight the Tianhai team comp, that's just because of the confidence that comes out from the gear alone and knowing how fast they can try to burn out one to the second and to the third and to make it to go through. Looking at the build holder, that's a hard stopper kick for XCM. He's going to be having that one. We're going to see a chance for the swap outs here. Scatter shot instead of the jabbing from ZK. Nasty builds coming out from Wolves. And they also have a group heal for ZK as well, though.
Oh boy, that hard stopper, that silence effect is going to be impactful. Let's hope the WBG don't feel it directly, as it is going to be Wolves XCM trying to set that one up and land the silence onto any play that he can. Zai F2 is going to be forced out the first time. Matari Ultimate is going to refresh it immediately. And Wolves XCM is still able to dodge it a second time. The Hardy reposition sets him up to go for the drop down with that hard stopper, but he still hasn't been able to find the connection as this Matari Ultimate is allowing the fan charged R&B to just continue sticking through his spine. But this is the moment that Wolves come online, and it's right as WBG's burst cycle ends.
Now it's a chance for XCM to look ahead and leap around here. Second jetpack has been consumed. We still haven't seen Evalda ultimate active. Here's going to be the chance. There's the knockback. ZK looking to try to throw that water spear. He gets a confirmation. Sleepwalker is grabbed. Meter dumps are happening here. The deny from Jing is impeccable as he hits both targets between ZK and NIHQ. NIHQ in a bad spot, but Sleepwalker in a worse spot to get eliminated. 2v2 situation. NIHQ still at 300 HP. Has to be careful around here. The Vault Sphere is mixed. ZK in the mix of it's going to lose out his ultimate in just a couple of seconds as NIHQ is going to be trying to reposition for the team. And that's going to be a hard stopper kick that XCM is going to be the main liner for this fight. Uppercuts confirmed. We're going for the LMBs. No, we're going for an R&B swing. And that's going to be A-Shao getting a F1 to dodge out here. And a parry in the background gets Jing his elimination to get knocked out of this fight in the realm. Wolves taking in the victory. 3 eliminations to be earned out as they secure the first Ramyang.
Yeah, that Tianhai grab into throw, into Valdespear, into regrab. It's so brutal, Serve. It's so brutal. And there's so little you can do to be able to prevent it as well, except just LOSing the first original grab. As it is going to definitely be setting up this composition to be one of the strongest the fighting 3v3 inside those realm of Yanks. As we talked about before, right? The problem with this composition is you have to commit almost all of your ultimates into every single fight. Your Tianhai and your Volda have to ult at the same time, and a lot of the time your Hardy has to ult at the same time too. So in the open world, that means that there's going to be a lot of punishment for after the fight, for the recovery period when you're down those ultimates and another team rolls on up looking for that third party. That opportunity is denied entirely by the realm of Yang. And off of the back of that, being able to win those, you are guaranteed a legendary weapon, which suddenly means that an ultimate that needs to hit its power spike at endgame hits that power spike a lot sooner. And all of these other teams have to just play reactive and hope that they don't roll into one of them.
Yeah, whether or not Wolves is going to want to take utilization of just making sure they can go through, and then if anything comes out from that, that's just, you know, straight DPS to come out. EWG have themselves outside of the Plume Castle, Gold Dagger picked up from the Ramyang, and hoping to see with the 3 eliminations in the spread of gold that they can just make sure they can spend out with what they can, but saving up is more important. This is where the economy for Mortal War goes through. If you guys don't know, Mortal War has the shops with there's a separate tab in the shop. You wouldn't believe it. Just like how there is a chance for you to buy weapons, gear, as well as jades into the end games to be picked up. They are expensive, 30k gold if I'm not mistaken. So this is where the discounts really come into play for some teams. Opt in here. Wolves is taking the fight though into the Misty Forest lines against X1, and that's going to be an early audio from NIHQ to save himself.
The hard stopper, the silence, LID. He got hit by the silence. He wasn't able to utilize any of his abilities, and he's down before he can ult.
Pain, sorrow, grief. He does have Vermilions. He's kind of hoping himself down here. Zai ultimate comes out. This is the Zai with the Hadi and the Zai with the Valda and the Tianhai. And then now that the Tianhai is gone, I'm not sure. JL need these kills because they are on the realm of Yang boost right now. Listen.
Yeah, JL's one thing just comes on through with the jump LMBs. Has not had to utilize that V2. Wolves going to be trying to disengage so that they can set up into this Valda ultimate, catching onto these spears of these players stacked on up. does manage to find one connection, but it is JL's VVV who's also going for that Volta ultimate and is finding much more value. Double speed connection into RMB Pulse Sword bonk, and there is absolutely nothing that Wolves can do except watch as their Vermilion Birds might gets ripped off of their backs and burned at the Soul Altar so soon after having picked it up.
That's crazy. Crazy of all the quote coming out here. Cinnabar Valley fight, WBG, F2 and Nested. Looking at the Matari to really deny Sleepwalker's pressure that he was trying to do 5 seconds ago. Now it's a whole different story here. Gold Focus Strike in the zone dies. F2 comes out. Rummy depletion, the reason he instantly falls there. And as WBG going to be the last one scoring through, SS1 are picking up these eliminations left and right to pick up their soul wounds for their own Rummy depletion to get rid of. Now Zhang 1 finds it, but the F2 from EWG looking to try to go ahead for the investment of the third party inside the zone. There's still a lot of fights here. You know, hoping to see whether or not EWG can look ahead and look and be successful, because it looks like they are doing that. Gold weapon in hand. Cookie striking down hard onto the floor as Tutu goes down as well.
Yeah, again, all of these teams hoping to keep themselves as safe as possible with the Yang depletion by taking themselves out of the center of the map and onto the outskirts of the map, ironically set themselves up to be scouted out by the teams patrolling the outer edges of the map, looking for teams in that state of recovery. As we can see, the exact same thing has happened over towards Yushan Ruins.
Now, and NY7 kites over towards the mountains. Now, FPX, blue armors, purple weapons. They are legitimately, in terms of a glass cannon right now for their inventory space. The F3 knocks back and hoping to see whether or not the Tessa enchant hit. It does. Zhao goes probably down in the next couple of seconds once that Tessa enchant procs. I don't even think he's safe, but then the Kurumio comes out. That changes the whole pace of this fight. But one R&B from the whole sword, and that's all Revenge needed to do, get the elimination.
NY7 still holds on to that Viper V1 as well, which is going to be impactful given the fact that we do see X1 up on the outskirts of that map, potentially looking for the third party. It's the next Tesla ultimate is going to come on through, trying and just keep these players snapped on out so that they get CC'd. Matari ultimate was held in the back pocket for FPX to try and land that recovery, and NY7 now is left a little bit on his lonesome, having to play, understanding that with that V1 he is a little bit tanky with the damage reduction when the ultimate comes on through, provided the space for his players to recover back on up, find that reset, and then return into this fight, as now FPX are in full disengagement bait mode.
Maybe this V1 is going to be good, because NY7 looks to invest inside of a building, man. They can just close the door on you, but look, looks like the door hasn't been closed all the way, and now the wind got in, and the snow is all in the window stuff because Yuma got the elimination against Zhao. The F3 shield walls come out, or the F1 shield walls, just to say, come out here from the Wu Chen. NY7 gets caught to the Scare Rush, 7 eliminations onto the board. RMB is going to be charged up to try to close the distance, and that's an elimination to Tessa as it comes through with the enchant, as there's no guarantee for that enemy to survive. Zhao Hu goes down. FPX left alone with 1.
Yeah, the mid-air connection of the F3 as well was so clean, as we're going to be watching JL now going head-to-head up against Wolves. Both of these teams on the same composition. One Feng with that Hang Sword looking for the chase down is also going to be looking at the other Tianhai, the F1, going to be burned out early. Body ultimate comes into play for TXJ as they're trying to put the pressure onto this Tianhai from Wolves and force that ultimate with the 2 versus 1, make that the 3 versus 1. The Honey was temporarily, that's only the Volder is looking at him instead. Neither of these Tianhais, though, rising to the challenge and actually utilizing that ultimate. Both of these teams doing a very good job of being able to peel for the Hyper Burst carry, and it's only now that we see the transformation, and it's both at the same time.
They have to deny either or, and there's a nice wall of coil that kind of denied the Vajra coming from Wolves, but as Fong is going to be looking to try to go ahead, reposition himself, a lot of blue focus is spammed out from IHG, no one denying it. The jetpack to be used to knock back. The grab is good. ZK can't go for any Volta coils, but the deformation's already into play, and now there's a chance XEM. Actually, that's not even a deformation from time. That's a manual deformation. Has to reposition because he was low enough to the point where he could have gotten caught into the LMBs with that staff, with the jabbing. As mentioned, 1, 2, 3s. We release those. We're not going to connect it. There's the LMBs. There's the F2. And as you can tell, VVV gets caught by another jabbing. He's like, wait a second. I recognize the 1.0s. And we're going to get the elimination with the horizontal. And that's going to be where JL recognized the matter of the effort at hand.
I have missed the rock, paper, scissors of the Tianhai versus Simmer. It is one of my favorite interactions because it turns the fight entirely on its head. It is a race between these 2 Tianhais to try and grab out that player, and then the second that one Tianhai is able to find the grab, the other Tianhai has to go on full defensive mode. And it is just so fun to get to watch all of the tech coming on through, whether it's the hip jump so that you can just land onto the other one and find the stagger, or whether it's going to be coming on through with the push connection so that they don't find the slam. It's one of my favorite interactions of the game.
Oh yeah, I just look at the Jades VV's got on hand, man. So he's
how stacked on a scale of 1 to 10 are we talking?
Bro, so he's got a dragon-like might, right? And that's one Jade where he can launch him up to the sky with the halberds. So he also has a Cloud Weaver on standby, bro.
No!
If he finds the stagger coming from the Cloud Weaver, he ain't gonna have a problem because his TN high is gonna go for those grabs. Frame one. Nothing's gonna stop the pressure coming in from those two Jades to be in contention. And you wouldn't believe it, armor pierce on the standby. They had picked up bows left and right in bow Jades, but if they find a musket, a purple rarity, or crater, they're gonna have a field day with this one.
I mean, Cloud Weaver is one of the best soldiers at being able to stop Spirit World contests too.
True, yeah.
And we have to remember that there were 5 Tian High teams. They've been reduced now to 3 Tian High teams. Technically 2.5 because Wolves currently have Yang depletion. Whether or not they'll be able to cleanse it, we'll have to wait and see. But when it comes to that Spirit World contest, we know that those Tian High teams are going to be trying to position themselves on that dome as it spawns on up so that they can immediately go for the transformation. As Wolves, here it is, are going to be respawning. Do they check the invisibility bush? Do they see where TE's wash is going to be? No way XEM ran through the 2 next to him and didn't check the third.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I watch the MVP. He's playing for placement, folks. He knows what to do. He's looking for the 0.5s, and he's going to survive as a result because Wolves is just too, we gotta lock in. We gotta go to Ice Shard Lake, Listen, if there was a bell there, they would have shucked that and he would have been spotted out frame 1, but there isn't. There's none in the vicinity of that area. So now Wolves in a position, 3 minutes on the clock, having to hopefully not go into a Warrior Ward state as JL's if Draco Storm ends in a minute. And if they end up going against them, there's also going to be a Viper which tests the team that might be just trying to showcase themselves, such as the Alliance to go into the mix, or even Team Bauda.
No bounty scrolls either. That's really unfortunate for Wolves. If they could have found a bounty scroll or a Valiant Challenger scroll, it would have immediately been able to give them an idea of where those players are going to be positioned. As it is, JL with Draco Storm, so going to be having that on the field for 27 seconds. If we get a final zone in Imperial, that is one of the roughest places to actually go up against the Transformer composition, because even though the tents provide a lot of break of LOS to stop the grabs from coming through, the cannon pressure with Flame Breath and Rupture Gill from all of those teams that are forced to take cover inside those tents away from the grabs is the thing that's going to kill you, not the Tian Hai. It's going to be the cannon that the Tian Hai's holding.
Yeah, and even without the Jade in question, right? Cannons and alone. That's why you see 6 repair chests, because they're just spamming as many proximity shots as they can, even with the enableability of just making sure of other teams, right? We've seen this in Hollow Rock multiple times, where fence lines or fence posts or just walls, like just such as these, right? The stake walls, how they're able to kind of work through and just be protective of one another. If teams see the pressure to come off into a building or a tent or a yurt, and they decide to go ahead and say, you know what, random test, and then they hit 2, this forces that team to really take into the center, which gives teams to enter and going off. We are seeing Wolves in EWG though, minute and a half, and Matari Zyphon versus a OBS comp, making sure that whether or not the Ouroboros can come into cycling, because this is going to be a dangerous situation as XCM finds himself in the middle of all of this.
I mean, EWG are so stacked in terms of loot though. ZK almost immediately gets taken down to critical. That has to be an armor pisser, as we are going to be seeing XCM come on through, looking to set up that Heartstoppers on that spear, but he's shown his hand. He's revealed he's got the silence holder. EWG's cookie is going to get caught by it. Matari Ultimate comes on through for EWG to try and sustain through this, but Wolves holding on to that Tianhai ultimate, waiting EWG's burst cycle out, utilizing the Hardy ultimate to be able to keep EWG in that crosshairs, not allowing the full reposition to come through. Now that the burst cycle has been taken down for the Zyphon composition, ZK's going to come in through with that ball. This Pivot Axiom with the 1-2-3. No way he threw that.
Yo, 1, 2, 3, man. Listen, that fast? Nah. Leeway's gonna be a confident grab though. This is kind of huge here because ZK is looking to try to go for the wall of the spear. I don't even think he has any left, so he's gonna be going ahead and seeing no connection to work from his teammate. Drop down and snared coming from Kuki. This is deletion for the health bar. XCM is not in a good spot. Can't even go for melee grabs. Goal focuses can be thrown out between these dodges, like a repetition of the from the rudiment of the fight, and that's where XCM goes down most likely. Even with the slam down like this, one goal focus to another, XCM gets a height. He might deform here, but he gets swiped like a pole sword on a Tinder wrap. This man was not prepared for what was going to happen next. They got 9 eliminations. EWG has a spot to make sure they can try to work themselves away from the cutting block, because we got to remember, guys, top 6 only the people in top 6 can make it. The cutting block right now is between Alliance and X1, and that's a 9-point difference. But you know what? If it comes down to it, EWG still has to stay going through and being healthy enough to catch up to where LEG is, who are above the 80-point threshold.
It's gonna be close though, and we still have 4 more games after this one serves. So very much the writing is not on the wall. Even some of these teams towards the bottom, the tail end of things, if they have a high enough scoring game, will be able to break up into that top 6. But as we talked about, that pressure that these teams are going to be feeling as we head into the second half of the day, that's been a big enemy for a lot of these teams that are very close to the cutoff point of that top 6. I'm looking directly at Alliance and EWG as well as X1 when we're talking about that, as we're going to be watching Alliance unfortunately having to just try and reposition player recovery as JL's turning their attention onto them. One thing with the Scale Rush, Dragon-like might on those halberds, able to interrupt where Alliance's Yuma has fallen off too. And JL with that White Tiger's prowess looking incredibly strong currently with their 8 kills and counting for a composition which is Bolt to win heal off and is currently absolutely full in terms of loot. That's 2 sets of legendary armors, and I just had an audible gasp, so run me through the Soul Jade setup.
So here's the thing, Rupture Gale has been picked up by JL. They got that going through, and a repair roll. So now they're really set. Like, I don't even want to say nothing at this point for JL. They are completely the most stacked team in this lobby by far. No questions about it. Bowda taking fights though inside the tent. I love these type of fights. These close quarter fights and seeing who focuses to get parried or even 1-2-3. Who knows? Gonna see a Hepta detach on SS and a Sap J, so he's good. Phantom Step as well, so he's even better than where he started off through. And another chance of seeing whether or not, you know, if the parry happens. I mean, listen, no one's gonna expect the longsword beam to come through here. We're gonna see a Dreadful Will on XI. We're gonna see a chance of a Heartstopper kick on Cookie, as well as that Cloud Weaver to be picked up, and a Sap J on Cookie as well. But obviously, a jabbing on XI is huge, especially on a Zipping to be as a support player. So she's able to kind of contend with Cookie's ultimate and just have a nice cleanup here. Bowda taken into seeing about a Roger's grip, having the chance of the swing shot as well as a Phantom Step and terms of the Cyan Fang. But a blistering edge on peak is crucial into these final fights. And obviously, Bard Bolt's coming through here. But we're gonna see a Dragon Slayer comes out. This team also Bowda having a chance. They can snipe people too because they also have a musket and the armor pierce.
Yeah, they can't snipe JL though, because JL currently controls Spirit Well, and this is very much a deja vu of day 1 of the mainland qualifiers, because Will's had this exact same scenario and no one contested it. So JL very much in the next couple of moments when they pick up that bus, we're going to see this entire rest of this lobby get split in 2. You're going to have JL on one side, you're going to have every other team trying to just keep themselves as far away from JL as they possibly can on the other. As it is going to be bad as you unfortunately getting hit into that Valda Spear right away as JL with the double ultimates want to be able to burn through the first cycle of them. Bowda in full recovery mode, just forced to go for that Viper V1. Doesn't manage to find the stun onto JL's One Fang, who again is able to iframe that hit of CC with the cast of the Tianhai ultimate. And this is JL, unlike Wolves, getting incredibly aggressive as One Fang's already been able to find one grab, doesn't hold for the second, but is still buying so much space and aggression for the rest of his team. JL on 8 kills, still going to be counting as this round continues.
And Cloud Weaver for the immediate slam down and try to connect it and making sure that's an easy melee re-grab. Fong taking a little bit of damage, 900 armor, goes for the Rupture Gale, trying to go for the stacks of as long as he can with a common cannon. It's still about the burn, and it's still about just trying to go for the connection. EWG having protection with the Dreadful Whale is also to keep something in mind. It really blowed how Bowda got caught through there. I mean, listen, the problem that came through is even through 2 CC effects of the Enchant and that Viper V1, if there ain't a silence on that Tianhai, all he has to do is wait it out. If he saved his combo breaker or even to the extension, just him just trying to burn out the time for you thinking that you had even a chance to begin.
Yeah, but they're stuck in there now though. JL know that Bowda took position in the recovery motion inside that tent, and they're utilizing them quite literally as cannon fodder to be able to build their Tianhai's V2 back into the mix. Like, look at One Thing's ultimate charge.
I mean, he's built different. He got reached 20%. I missed the old glyph boards. But then again, having the 18% and then picking up a kill to get another additional 18 is, you know, the proper sense of it for the balancing for the effort. But Fong, yeah, listen, if he has a chance of getting whisk throwed from OUG, man, they got a bar bolts as well as a venom tip, so kind of work off of that. And even then, the teammates are there to support. Cookie on the high ground. Look at the skywalk here. One of two left alive for EWG as they're holding down. FPX as well for Junex trying to go for the high ground. And this is going to be just a one tree in a tent to survive. And that little bit of rock, the little boulder right there, can also be scare rushed. And the players are not going to let it beat shy enough to try to initiate fights to force the other teams to look to instigate upon them even further.
Well, Bowden knew that one of these Tian Highs did not have their ultimate. They're trying to figure out whether it's JL. They've got the right team. They've got the right Tian High. One Fang, unfortunately, was with that cannon, able to generate enough rage just now that he's able to come on through with that V2 health reset. Excellent LYD also going to be going for that ultimate at the same time. Both of these Tian Highs very much just looking to try and take advantage of the chaos that the other has set into motion and find these grabs, because if you dodge one grab, you get grabbed up by the other. JL's One Fang with the flame punch into zone corruption damage, the cherry on top. And that is going to be Bowder's Yiran going down. LYD still in that Vajra state, getting another grab onto FPX's Jun. Yet again going for that Storm Punch connection to come on out, so that once that Vajra state has gone through, all of these players have to burn their stamina just to make it out of the storm damage.
SS was saved by a miracle, even with the Valda Coil having enough Furence to be available and no Tian High to be in effect. That last Valda Coil, last Furence Blast to be invested. F1's up, the Kurumi's ultimate, he goes through, he goes outside of the Kurumi ultimate. The Temi server comes in, Jinnyu's gonna go for support line, XOY goes down as a result, and so does LYD. SS has himself for another ultimate to be available. That Aurora Burst getting caught to the very huge attempts here for another recast for the Furence. And as SS puts out the fan with the RMBs and Wind Blast, he's making sure as much CC effect comes out as possible. VVV gets caught by the 1-2-3. A little bit of extra damage here for SS. OUG at 6 eliminations, but that Vajra is out. And One Fang, he is not stopping this pressure, and he's taking the high ground for his own as he catches one grab. Can he catch two?
Looking for it. Aurora Burst is going to be in play. He doesn't find the second grab, but he does find the slam, so gets healed a little bit back on up. Manages to find another player now, looks for that slam, but he's getting lower and lower and lower. Has to utilize the throw. Manages to utilize that jump to put himself up into the air so that he can live the dropout of the ultimate transformation and put himself into the middle of this damage. And JL still able to come on through, but OUG's SS on that Takeda not gonna be able to take away the win, because JL, oldest trick in the book, smoke and mirrors, they're able to pull off the magic trick. Everybody looks at the Tian High. No one sees the sleight of hand that is the Hardy setting his ultimate up and making sure that he gets to play above everybody else, out of reach of all of the damage coming through on that low ground, so that he's able to come on through, knock those players into the corruption tick damage, while still keeping himself as mobile as possible and winning the heal off. That is a huge game for JL.
Those are weapons to be picked up, so that's what they're going to be dependent on. 3 teams. If they can take this fight, they're going to make sure they can try to go for it, and that's going to be what JL's looking for. They got blue armor on BBV. They're on high ground territory. There is no shop here, but Victims Haven, OUG, taking fights against WBG. This is where the startup happens, and this is where the engagement begins.
Yeah, OUG. Jinyu with that side utilizes the F2, tried to find the isolated target onto WBG's Asia to force that Kurumi to TP and use that Tether early to go for the cleanse. Wasn't able to find the connection though. Has managed to be able to put pressure onto this Takeda, but that blue pole sword with the RMB is doing work. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too slow. Jinyu with the RMBs on those halberds sets up for EWG's Cookie to come on through. That is now going to be them going down as we look and see that the fight that was starting to happen over towards Artisans is repositioned, and JL getting the better of the lead drop, are currently leading it quite dominantly.
They got themselves into the top floor as fast as possible. The translation was because there was no shot. The teams were trying to rotate towards Noble Cave. Now you see EWG in turn to Servant's Grounds. Cookie tries the F2 to deter the pressure. F3 from TXJ was beautiful, and that's going to be where XI gets caught with the test enchant. That's another elimination. JL's taken 3 so far, and into Servant's Grounds, another fight is ensuing. Alliance is on the tails of JL as well, and we're seeing a lot of teams just rotate straight into Servant's Grounds like nothing has ever been the most prized possession ever before in their lives.
Oh, Bowder, they're able to pick up Yuran. Will he be able to stay up, or is he going to be yeet down? However, Alliance actually turning their attention onto SS1, coming them through for that third party, as JL's other players also going to be starting to try and make a move. Tessa Enchantment catches on to TXJ. Viper Ultimate as well, trying to capitalize onto all of the focus coming on out from Alliance so that TXJ gives his team the opportunity to start to recuperate, but Yuma with the Tessa F1 knocks JL away, trying to interact with the Soul, and TXJ with the constant pressure though guarantees that they can't find the interaction in time, and one thing goes down, but TXJ with the scare rush into RMB drop down catches on to unsuspecting players, and with that damage is going to be able to claim one kill. As Alliance's NY7 now, it's their turn to utilize this Viper Ultimate, but Surf, the fight's gone on a little bit too long, and Wolves have spotted it going through and come in with a third party, immediately clearing the border of Alliance's players as JL repositioned, seeing the Moonbane drop and just not wanting any part of this.
Dangerous predicament right now for XCM as it comes out. He finds Disenchant with this Moonbane's Alliance, so they're going to be looking to try to go for the reset. Revenge getting res passively here, as the remains might be protected by the walls for now. Wolves looking for that eastern or the western side of the point of view, and they can't find one, so now they're going to reset, back off, making sure that if any other team see this Moonbane, like OUG right now, they're arriving to the scene, they see the paternity of action to happen. Blue armors, blue weapons, these guys have the early game loot of the lifetime right now to look for this, and there is Iphen, so you know it's going to be full value for them. All ultimates are available on the board for OUG, so if they see anyone trying to back off here from this Moonbane, they'll make sure to hunt them down. Blue armor picked up here. Yuma now has the equal opportunity for them and their team to come right back after that res scenario with the Moonbane to look for another fight, hopefully without them being at the bottom half of the results.
OUG know that there's a team inside the Moonbane. Alliance have to be careful about how they reposition because they understand JL were here, Wolves were here. That Moonbane is going to be attracting other teams too. If they run too far away from OUG, potentially they run into another of those teams that they were fighting previously, could maybe kite over towards the Forbidden Seal to the left. As it is going to be Jinyu with the side V2. Hasn't used it just yet. Looks for the scare rush. Now comes on through with the drop down fire cone. But Alliance able to find the Wuchen teleport. Did they Wuchen teleport over towards the Forbidden Seal? Yes, they absolutely did. And Jinyu loses the entirety of his V2.
That's unfortunate. Moonbane available. OUG said, I got an Uno reverse card, bros. And this is going to be with the pressure. F2 comes out. No stagger comes out. Revenge. Going to see his Viper come out to save the day. And now Jinyu has to make sure he can go for those staggers. But the F1 comes out. The Tessa Enchant right outside of the Forbidden Seal is guaranteed. OUG trying to go for it, gets caught by a parry, and the enchant's good, and the Dragon Slayer comes out. OUG loses one down. Jinyu is going to be going in through. The Matari ultimate is semi-active, but SS goes through outside of the field of play. This Moonbane isn't works, but it's not working in their favor. Alliance has a chance of finding that last elimination. Uppercut comes out, horizontal release. Boom, Moonbane strike. This is a turnaround. What an RB to the next. There's another kill. It looks like, oh, the King might turn this around for the team. And a parry like that. He's a solos players, folks, formerly, and he's showing up here as a Trios gamer.
Wuchen teleport, though, was able to be connected. And it's actually going to be a backtrack. Alliance's Yuma utilizes the Wuchen teleport, lets his Wuchen go for the revive, and then goes back to take the 1v1 to deny the revive. The LMB on the dagger is good, but the Moonbane is still going. Goes for the overhold, has to utilize the F1 to escape the Dragon Slayers into that Nezhaz, but he's bought enough time for the Viper to get picked up. Will be able to turn it into a 3 versus 1, but the King finds the parry. The Dragon Slayers into the Nezhaz, and the third party's about to come on through because JL with the Tessa Enchantment from absolutely nowhere show up to the scene.
SS1 really coming through here and being the sneaky seekers, and now JL sees everything and like, whoa, what's going on here? We're gonna see a V1 Viper ultimate. The Forbidden Seal's down. The Wuchen port's good. You're gonna see OUG get straight towards the east side of the Celestra. JL coming in here from Servant's Grounds. 4 eliminations. They're gonna say, what's the deal? What's happening here? Having every single one of these bodies and trying to wonder out whether or not the teammates are gonna be on the sidelines trying to go for the res if they can, or if they're escaping. They're going for the chase down. V1 coming out from TXJ, and the Tessa Enchant is good for one target, and looking to try to space out here, try to get multiple, and the pressure comes out, and the Wuchen port gets some safety guard for just a couple of seconds.
Oh, but JL saw what that Wuchen teleported to. TXJ with that musket, let's try and put some pressure. Alliance, you can see, actually were able to utilize that interruption and pick that player up. They hid themselves behind the tree so that they didn't get spotted out when JL went looking to see what teams had been fighting. As bad as Yiran with one grab, However, it is going to be the Kurumi Tether coming in clutch for FX's Jun, so his health bar barely dips, but now the Tether's been utilized. They don't have it available to use onto Zhao. Yuan drops out of the ultimate, utilizes the F1, and then utilizes that Hang Sword to just try and reposition, but he's being hunted down. Has to go for the slaps, just looking to use the stagger and keep himself alive as long as possible. Maybe setting up for his team to come on through and bail him out. There's Peak, unfortunately, also entirely weaponless, just going for slaps. FPX, it looks like they were able to catch Bowder out of that soul altar, and just with absolutely no loot to their name, there's nothing that this team can really do.
Now the Zone is going to be working on Peak's favorite semi. It seems that with the F2 coming out from the Valda, from the Hadi, now going right back into that Valda coil, the Valda ultimate's still up for a couple of seconds. June X trying to go for the grapples. The counter grapple kind of keep him in place here. Peak can get the one slap here in a dream. We got 5 seconds left on the old dog. Yeah, make sure you get one heal off, but it's not going to be. It's going to be denied completely here. You're going to see the slap for the 1-2, go for the crouch LMBs, and there's going to be the Hong Sword lead the dab to come through. And a soul bloom like that, June X finds himself with that 1000 heal. Unfortunate circumstance right now for Team Bowda, as they were close to the turnaround for a couple of seconds, but to sustain the move in the terrain, this is what gives FPX that benefit of it. And if then all comes to the fail, they may be looking for a Takeda ultimate if Yoran just somehow pulls the punches here. Doubtful. But this is going to be the pick apart piece by piece, layer by layer, like an onion. 6 kills for FPX. They got themselves to get out here towards Crow's Nest. They want to get out of the zone, and they're halfway through their weakness escalation before that weakness comes into full effect for the heals that get start diminishing over the course of time.
Question is, for FPX, this is that pop-off game. Is it too late? They're currently in 12th position. They have a lot of work to do to be able to overtake any of the teams currently in the top 6. As it is going to be Realm of Yang coming on out. X1 going to be going head-to-head versus Wolves. No legendary soldiers on the board. But Wolves with 2 sets of purple armor going to be also going up against X1 with their 2 sets of purple armor. Gates open. Wolves looking to put themselves onto the lower edge before scale rushing up onto those pillars, trying to find the grapple connection and put enough damage onto this Valda to force the F2. Combo breaker has been forced. Now they can go in. Further kill finds the parry. Hardy ultimate is going to be forced. The combo breaker has come into play, and it is going to be that Matari ultimate so that X1 can try and reposition themselves away. XEM now goes for the Tianhai transformation. ZK takes cover behind him, utilizing the threat of the grab so that their Valda can recover, because even in the Valda V2, though you have a different health bar, you can still heal yourself to when you drop out of ultimate.
Yeah, now it's going to be a slam down. LYD takes himself to the ground here to grab on XOY for free. Now this is crucial. NiHQ also having a chance here. Look for the blue focuses because he has sap. He can go for an AoE hit, and that's going to give a guaranteed right then and there. You can see XOY goes down, and then you're going to see the scale rush coming through here with ZK, 1 HP in the dream. Sees a corner with the V2 coming from XOY. This is unfortunate. We've been seeing the Zaya held the ult for as long as it comes through. The F2 comes down for the Comet, and now XEM is not going to have a fun time. Neither is NiHQ in the background. That's Wolves going down here. This is X1 going up. Another Romiang happens here between WBG and TE, Ouroboros versus the Sand Siphon. And this comp has himself no Vajra safe, as 14 had already invested it, but he finds a nice parry and a sap hit and a jump LMB. He's extending this out because now it's a 2v3 between BWG and TE.
Oh, they're turning into a 2 versus 1 against the Stacator as well. Walker just having to burn through all of his stamina, gets hit into by the RMB on those halberds the second that he runs out of it, and TE will be able to walk away with the win. As we can see, JDG, X1, and TE were all the teams able to come out victorious inside that Realm of Yang. Alliance opting for the Spirit Well, going to be walking away with a Draco Storm. And because of this, all of these teams currently not under Yang depletion are probably going to be playing it pretty close to the ear. No one really wanting to overaggress, especially since we have so many Viper tests from Wuchang compositions currently in the open field looking for any opportunity to invite themselves in for a third party.
JDG winning their Romiang, taking Takeda with the staff. Crucial. One of his best weapons. At least in the case scenario, if it comes down, he has jabbing. That's the reason coming through here. Salty spawn, not salty spawn. Romiang spawn from EWG and a follow-up from Wolves. 2 purple armor still instead. They got themselves to kind of work into making sure they can chase this one down as Wolves XEM pox through here with the Hong Sword, gets counter grappled. EWG, gotta be smart about this. You got to remember, right, with the OBS comp, you got to be very careful about the timings and looking through. This is a Xiphon versus the OBS comp. So for XEM, packing it up here in the back line, having to see whether or not IHQ looks to try to go ahead and invest his ultimate early like he did once before. And there it is. Going to go ahead, proc out the teleporter, and start himself on the offensive grind here. Now, as XEM takes time to heal, we're going to see the backline push from Cookie to make sure XEM stays in this place, separated from the team. Matari ult procs out here. Well, XEM looks to hold this out here. And now the support line comes up from ZK.
Yeah, they're all on this Matari. Matari not having that immediate combo break is going to make it pretty easy for Cookie to get staggered out if Wolves are going to be able to just pile on top of that one player. XM still holds on to their ultimate. However, UWG, we should note, with the Xiphon composition, have the Zip rather than the Karumi. So if one of them does get grabbed, or even if it is a double grab, that ultimate is going to kick in and save them from immediate death. This XCM now on the field, on that Vajra, looking for these grabs. EWG kited themselves over towards this building for anticipation of the ultimate coming on out. And XCM is getting absolutely nothing. This is not what Wolves wanted to have happen. They haven't been able to find a single grab to come on out. They've still got the Valder ultimate at least, but XCM are off of the field, out of that Tianhai state, and the V2 is still coming through.
V2 knockback comes out. ZK goes ahead and sees the opportunity here to try to throw his spear towards his direction. Finds an RMB against Liwei. Liwei going to be going for the F2 charge, and as ZK gets parried, this is enough time to be burned out. You know XCM is looking for the blue focuses as the connection comes out for the uppercut. There's going to be the control aspect. I'm not sure if NightHQ has been building Rage fast enough to get his ultimate back up, but if he sets himself up in the distance, he's got to get closer to his teammates as they're going to reposition, and as ZK locks down here against him and Cookie.
UWG's Cookie trying to come on out with that F2. Is unfortunately going to be able to put himself into a position to actually pick up a soul limb and try and heal. It is currently Cookie trying to hold down the fort, but unfortunately gets parried out of that fan. And that repulse damage is going to do him in. Wolves is just clean up at the moment. XCM trying to keep himself as mobile as possible so that Liwei does not take him down. Matari ultimate comes into play. The dash is good. The Tianhai covers it with the F1. Liwei still just trying to keep himself as mobile as possible so he doesn't get locked down. Sets up the Dragon Slayers, doesn't find the follow-through into the Nessus with that Valda popping that F2. And Wolves breathing a huge sigh of relief that they didn't lose one of their players in that 1 versus 2.
Yeah, I gotta have NightHQ to be bought out here if the Reaper charms because, JL just bought the whole shot, bro. They bought the whole thing. Every single one of those Rebirth triumphs comes out, and now Wolves actually bought the last one just in time. IHQ, welcome back, buddy. Gonna dap him up real quick, get him a little bit of the gear back from the bodies. And it's crazy enough to see ZK holding that V2 as long as Zai Ultimate was still up, even with the Tianhai. That building was enough of a problem. They knew ahead of time. Don't proc your ult, hold it off. We need a mitigation to kind of work through here in case anything comes out. Because they burned all their ultimates during the early half, the opponents with EWG. So now they were waiting this out. It worked in their favor tremendously. It's 5 kill eliminations total. They're out of the field of disarray. But JL, they're taking the fight against OUG in this Lestra.
They might have been able to buy out the shop, but I don't think they're going to be able to buy themselves out of this danger spot. As TXJ, 2 Rebirth Charms in his back pocket, but not a single soul ulti to be able to use them. He gets taken down before he can make it over, and actually manages to run OUG directly into SS1, so even beyond the grave, he's still impacting how this run continues as both of these teams trying to live. Jinyu comes on through with that Zai F2 entrance, but he's now put himself into an aggressive position. Utilizes the V2 cast to reset the F2 and connects onto the players from SS1 before they can break away from the claustrophobic space, not wanting to fight the Zai inside a small room where all of that fire tick cone is going to be able to connect onto multiple bodies. And it is going to be OUG Jinyu, unfortunately losing the opportunity to find a kill as SS1 with the Wuchen teleport. Don't go super far, but do back off before Jinyu can come on through with a full lockdown onto one of their players, buying enough time for that Viper V1 to come on out. But unfortunately, it's not going to be enough as OUG with that Matari ultimate can just immediately dodge out of all of the comeuppance.
Now into the Roman Yang, JDG taking their fights against FPX, Gold Armor versus Gold Spear, Chute taking his chances here. The LMB goes for the uppercut, nope, backs away. And now the timing circle is going to be that huge dissolution for them if they're going to be looking to lock away from the zone itself and losing their stamina. Junex is going to be getting that nice parry. Two-tick gets caught. Might be looking for an uppercut here. Here is no disarray for that chance. That whisk throw doesn't even doing work out here. And Sand Siphon from Xiao is going to work out with the whisk throws, but he is going to see his teammate Junex in the middle of all this action. The communication's on the line right now. 4 Furins available for Junex to go ahead and turn this around and force out the pressure. Nice musket shot, double tap. Man, that's the rule number 1 in the universe. Now it's going to be Kiki making sure he can go for it. Having to work around and seeing Junex being that pressure holder here. He's looking at cooking at 450. He's got to be making sure he can make sure the temperature is just right, because now he lost down Zhao. Zhao is down, Zhao Q is down, and then F1 is up. But Junex, all he needs to get caught is neutraled out, slap in the face. Yeah, we're going to double slap. We're going to try to go ahead for a double jump swap out here, maybe looking for a jump to the R&B against a Temi. I don't think it's going to happen, but we jump Lambine. That, Kurumi's going to go ahead for the F3 cast, but once you get neutraled out, that's all that's going to be coming out. Junex goes down, JDG pick up their elimination, the Romy Yang victory, gold armor, gold weapon. I'm looking at the Jade. What we got going in the box? Let me see what's in the box. What's in the box? Not a box of cereal, man. This is game time fun. I need to see what's in there for the Jade, and they ain't letting me know. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll have a surprise later on, I guess.
No unboxing for Severia today. As it is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Octa Blade. That was picked up in there. A Tuna and a Tuna and a Swift Edge to be picked up here from Kiki. So the conversion right now.
What's Jing rocking with his legendary?
Jing is going to have the Octa Slash, so that's going to be his dual blade setup. You see the dual halberds? Watch this, man. He's about to say crafting here. King.
Do you love to see Octa Slash coming on for? We rarely get to see it, because a lot of these players do prioritize the dual halberds over dual blades nowadays. Normally when we see dual blades, it's like, yeah, they probably got Cavalry Bloom. There's an 80% chance that they're rocking Cavalry Bloom, as it is going to be Alliance on the field with White Tiger's Paras. That is going to be running out in a little bit. 2 sets of purple armor, 1 on Yuma, 1 on NY7, as well as a purple hang sword for NY7. X1 going to be taking a little bit of downtime to go to a dealer's and pick themselves up some upgrades, either in equipment or soul jades, and that is going to set in board a fight between 2 teams of yang depletion entirely uninterrupted over towards Shipwreck. It's going to be FPX potentially going up against TE, and now that is storyline as old as MBPL. These 2 teams have a history against each other, as TE opt now to go for that rebirth. Have FPX figured out that there's going to be a team close to them because they have kited over? Yeah, we saw the bow shot coming on through. They know that TE is going to be around. It is going to be that Ouroboros composition coming on through. FPX on the Sand Siphon composition, so that Kurumi is definitely going to be coming under a lot of pressure. Speaking about a lot of pressure, JDG putting a lot of pressure now with this Takeda ultimate onto these players from OUG. Furin shove into Dragon Slayers, into Nezis, into Blistering Edge, and oh my goodness, the damage.
This is a lot of DPS that OEG was not going to be prepared for in any case. Jing is low, but with everything from the Saggers and the R&B blue focuses to be spanned out here, even with the King going for the horizontal, he gets staggered by the Draco Storm. Double parry, triple parry. Oh my god. Gonna go ahead, try to make it an effort. He hits the blue focuses, but the F1's out. Q-Tech looks to go ahead and making sure that no blue focus can be thrown again, and that's elimination spread. OUG goes down completely, and another fight happening here in the north side, if I'm not mistaken. No, over to the Shipwreck Expanse and TE, but them trying to go for the eliminations if they can.
Third party potentially coming in from X1, which is bad news for TE, who've had to all in with the Volta and the Tian High. Leo does still have the Hardy ultimate, but here comes the third party, and here comes the Draco Storm. X1 dropping into the mix with the Xiphon composition. Don't even need the Matari ultimate for the free cast of the F2. It's just the Xi V2, one and done, and it's absolute cleanup as X1 walk away with all of the kills. FPX and TE an absolute scramble to reposition and just try and hold on to any player that lived that massacre that X1 are able to find with that instigation.
Yo, LYD is like Tom Hanks in Polar Express, all aboard the death train, because that's exactly what he just did. He sent them out to Kingdom Come through it, and it's Christmas time. So for everything coming out, it's a gift to them to get the eliminations. They're at 10 right now, cutting board at 7th place. EWG beat out gives them a chance, an opportunity, a striking force. Wash, though, left alone to his own cumbersome position as JDG finds him, and looking for a grapple bump there, and gets himself to see the investment of the F2, knowing that maybe there isn't an ultimate to be able from this ball. We got a software, but the fan, give him the scare rush, the speed of it. Gets to watch just a couple seconds. If it comes down, Romy depletion is going to be what's going to be coming out. Grandfather time. Parry like that, though, and Wash is going to go ahead without a bang, and He's still going to be making a chance if just trying to fight until the very last second. But 10 eliminations for JDG here.
We do know that Tutik burned that Vajra's grip that he had when fighting OUG, and will not have it when they run now into X1 if they decide to try and take this fight. They are going to be contesting that Spirit Well coming on through, and JDG, oh, that's Focus Light. Speak of the Soul Jade, and we will bring it into summon. That is Focus Light on the Temi, which is absolutely terrifying.
Man, we got a Hard Cyber Kick, Sky Force on the Cicada with a Rupture Gale Lord.
Cloud Weaver 2?
Yeah, Cloud Weaver 2. Juggernaut level 2, Poison Splash for the Grief. And a Tuna, if I'm not mistaken, that's set up to be on Jing, so he just Focus Lighting in. He just has all the HPJs that he needs. That Sky Force, though, with the gold armor for 2-tick, bro.
Yes, you know he's going to be Focus Lighting people into the Temi-Wisps. As it is going to be X1 chasing Alliance away with the operation of that Forbidden Seal. The Zip Heal comes on first, the XOY can go for a little bit of recovery because they saw that JDG was set up for that Spirit Well, and yet again, instead of contesting it, it does look like every single team is just going to be more than content to just put themselves away, play for the mitigation and limiting of any of the impact by just prioritizing repositioning instead of taking the actual fight.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the Jades across the board right now. Cablooms, I saw double Cabloom on the team. I see an Aurora Burst on ZK right now with the Sap Jade, so it's going to work out. Explosive Armor on IHQ with a Switch Dazzle on the build. Hopefully it doesn't grief him, but we'll have to see. It's going to be optimal. But also it had to detach with the Cabloom team. So seeing about the potential lockdown, the surprise tactic of that having to detach, it comes a long way. 2-tick though, hiding around the Spirit Well buff, having the chance of just waiting this out slowly but surely and just making sure no one's contesting this. No one can. They don't know, they know that the Spirit Well is here, so they know the direction of what a team may end up going through. Alliance, on the other hand, in terms of what they got in terms of gear, the purple weapon and purple armor is one thing. Revenge being on blue armor. They don't got a lot going for the J department. That is not really what's going to count until, they go into the thick of things. If they try to assassinate, it's all going to be about just getting quick 1.0s as fast as possible and then out. They got to get out because even though the tree lines are going to be in their benefit, a V1 drop down can result in another team to try to see what happens here. And there's Forbidden Seals, spotted here or there around throughout Islet Crater to where this final circle might end up going through.
Yeah, we have seen teams as of late, instead of going for the Viper V1 to sort of push a fight from their side, they'll use it to stir the pot, so as to speak. Bida did do this a lot of the time, where they have a Viper V1 drop down, and it's just to force other teams into the air to burn for their ultimates. Especially the Tianhais, right? Because a lot of those Tianhais use the cast of the ultimate to dodge the CC stun impact of that Viper V1 going off. Speaking about dodging, oh my goodness, Wolves just dodged an actual bullet. This 2-tick just threw out that Dragon Slayers and missed every single one of them by a hair. Like, they basically got a free haircut with how close 2-tick came to them.
Hey, yo, man, cut my hair. What would you want? Close shave. No, not close shave. Oh, 1, 2, 3 blue. Say no more. It's like, what? My man went ahead and got the cut and the freshest fade in the century, bro. Looking like he belonged in the J-Cup. That's crazy. Having a chance. 2-tick, though, Rupture Gale over is in his build as well. So, like, here's the problem right now for JDG. We've seen them stacked before, right? Yeah. We've seen them stacked with jades, weapons, gear, and they're sand siphoning this time. They're not siphoning. Combat of Moonbane. Bad situation. But more importantly, they can reposition back here as long as the team isn't sneaky into the sky, but they have no space here in terrain with the rocks and the hills. If JDG takes this, right, multiply and everything, close enough, we're going to get to 7th place. X1 is still in the game with 10 kills. Double-digit kill teams in the game, still working through and getting out of the threshold and making sure they can pass EWG, who has already been out of the game for.
They're going to get another Spirit Well for free, so.
I wouldn't doubt it. White Tiger's Prowess? Yeah.
Yep, White Tiger's Prowess.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, Alliance are pretty close. They're definitely thinking... Nope, never mind. They're grappling away. I was going to say, maybe we see them throw that Tester enchantment out, but no. Everyone is just doing the exact same thing that we saw the last time that JDG walked away with a Spirit Well, right? They're just cutting themselves off. They're allowing JDG to take over one entire half of what is left of the map. But now, JDG with this White Tiger's Prowess are just going to get incredibly aggressive and put themselves into these trees, and whichever team is a little bit too late in the reposition is going to get stuck behind, and that Temi Wisp is going to mean that X1 are stuck one player down.
Man, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I don't think anyone was going to be expecting that, especially X1, but hey, it happens because it's a siphon. They went super aggro, and that works. It works until someone goes ahead and drop down stuns you. But then again, it's a White Tiger's prowess, and the moment the heals comes out here.
They've got all of their ultimates back.
Yeah, LYD though, man. This man is hunting. He's getting hunted. Let me rephrase that. Wolves is looking to hunt him down. Like he's like, you know, parking tickets are on the tree line and he's got to pay up. He's got a gold fan on the standby. XCM looks to try to contest, kind of caught in midair. Not what we like to see. Definitely not. We can iframe through this. Oh no, he got oh, it's over.
Oh, the grapple into the wisp. No, we can't iframe through this. We cannot iframe from beyond the grave. These Temi wisps have been an absolute death sentence. Also, sir, I think that is the worst caster curse I've heard all MVPL season.
Listen, the moment I saw that grapple stagger in midair, oh, he's done. Bro, the moment I saw that, he was sideways.
I rescind my statement.
My man went sideways. He went horizontal. He laid on the bed. He's like, I'm taking a nap, bro. And
yeah, that wasn't so much the flop state as just the eternally dead state. He had zero chance.
And woke up.
Alliance, though, do have a couple of trees to still be able to just skywalk through. So the Viper V1 is very much a threat that a lot of these teams are going to have to be cognizant of. As JDG's 2 ticks use a little bit of downtime to repair the cannon before turning on all of the aggression up against Alliance, who are just getting absolutely slammed by range damage and herded closer and closer towards Wolves, who are also in a recovery state and are therefore in absolutely no position to try and stop them. In fact, ZK is going to try and go for an aggressive play with a Aurora Burst, dropping onto JDG, and, well, the Sand Siphon composition cannot have that, because one thing that can stop JDG from walking away with that kill score multiplier is a Volta V2 and a silence that means that they cannot take advantage of any of the Sand Siphon abilities.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. Two-Take dropped down with the F1 post blue frames into gold frames. So he was confident making sure the attempt was made. The teleporter had been utilized. Now it's cannon shots between another and a protection from the Cloud Reaper to make sure these guys are safe from anything coming from the distance. ZK in the corner side, making sure he can try to stay alive with his hottie and making sure 9HQ can kind of just go ahead and kite around and try to build a rage again for the secondary ultimate. We're under to the last 2 minutes, folks. We're going to have a chance of seeing whether or not hotties can make it through here between themselves and the Valda, but more importantly, whether or not Alliance can just go ahead and decimate the lobby. When these tree lines get away from the cycle of the zone, when it starts to collapse real soon, whether or not the V1 comes out in the most crucial moment of all time, or we could see a denial from a single Temi Wisp to deny the whole combination. Because the test enchant, that's all you need to start this pressure off.
JDG try to go for the combo of Cloud Weaver into jabbing, unfortunately get comboed into the Tesla enchantment. Kiki is going to get covered though, with the meter dump coming in through from Jing. Enchantment window was off. Back we go to Cloud Weaver spam, with all of these players getting super close to the edge of that corruption tick damage, having to reposition themselves away from JDG. Witch and Windwall is going to come in through to block some of that ranged cannon shots from 2-Tick, but the damage has been done. JDG have an entire half of this lobby free to themselves, and every other team is cannibalizing their resources, cannibalizing all of their ultimate resources, having to come on through as 2-Tick prematurely casts out the F1. No one can punish onto him, even through that Viper stun, especially with the Kurumi ultimate and the Temi Sand Wisp. With that interaction, making sure to sap all of the stamina from all of the players in the meantime of it. As the Test Enchantment comes on out, all of these players pretty much guaranteeing that they're not going to be able to win a straight-up fight against JDG. Everyone's sort of just trying to play the survival mode.
Yeah, Revenge going to go down here, so is ZK, and there goes down Wolves, making sure NightScoop got eliminated early on. NY7 in the mix go ahead and get eliminated. All of this comes down to the brutal fact that JDG really utilized what they had, and that's going to be the aggression and the force of pressure. Since there was no Tianhai, no problem, baby. We're going to have to look and see about this whole check of the jabbing. There's LYD going down. JDG getting 19 kills here if they get this last hit, and that's it. That's multiplier game. That is a tremendous feature for these guys in pulling out into the bottom six and just skyrocketing past the scoreboard.
Yeah, smiles on JDG's faces, because that was comfortable for them. Like, that wasn't on the edge of their seat. That wasn't potentially have to worry about another team walking away with the kill score multiplier. That was every other team in the lobby having to play full reactive against JDG. At this teleport, and it led to their undoing. They got third-partied by the likes of KLA, Wolves, and Bowder. And so we're going to be having a look at EWG versus WBG off of the rip. The Tesla F1 already being infested. Unfortunately, Lue does not manage to find himself a weapon. Jing, with this blue fan, is going to be able to have the upper hand.
Yeah, Cookie goes down here as well, looking at towards 2 out of 3. But WBG with only one of the eliminations coming out for this, and the bell's going to be struck. Now, Fortress Kaviani has a plethora of Fireflies to be available. Next team's going to be coming out here immediately with the ultimate as SS1 gets rotated down here during the terrain. Matari can't do anything about this except double rolled back, and there's the armor release. 1-2s, making sure that the teammate comes out here. There's a parry. There's a chance of denying it, and it still connects off against Ling.
Kiki, with this Kurumi and the nunchucks, has the full meter dump as well as that Tevit to be able to invest. Takes it into a 2 versus 1. SS1 Shannon is able to find the parry, and off of that damage will be able to take it out to a 1 versus 1. Got the soul bloom too to be able to get the reset. Scarush looks for the connection, goes for the 1, 2, into jump L and B. However, the 2 get interrupted by a third party coming on out from Wolves. Zhan 1 might have been able to outlive Jing, but it is going to be just a little bit longer, I feel. Because even with the Zai V2, he is outnumbered entirely, and Wolves will be able to bring him to heal.
Great chance for Wolves to come through here from that area and actually dropping down as fast as possible towards the fortress. We're going to see FBX up against X1, and that's a great stun to be set up here from the Viper Witch and Tessa. It looks like FBX June X is going to have to use only one last ticket if you're in to push back everybody. We lost Zhao Hu. We got Zhao's ultimate to be active now for the Temi. He repositions. The shield walls come in clutch, though, as X1 keeps his sustain going. The fan RMBs are being spammed, and ZDI just makes sure to go through. Seems June X get eliminated, he can now close in safely against Zhao with those blue focuses as elimination. But a parry like that gives Zhao Hu just a couple of extra chances here to see about this 1v3 situation. He hold checks and the double parry comes out, but 1 F3 is all that's needed as ZDI has it right then and there to confirm that kill.
Oof, yeah, F3 into Fan. And I mean, I remember when Fan first released, all of the Temis kept getting caught out by the fact that even though it's a melee weapon, it has a ranged attack, which is still able to go through that Temi wind wall with that RMB and LMB, and you could see they were taking full advantage even through the Temi ultimate on the other side of just being able to throw out the RMBs. Still find those connections. Is Bowder and SS1. Bowder not actually opting to head over towards Salvation Podium, is they're going to be keeping themselves around City of Tang. Going to be trying to take this fight against SS1, but SS1 very much not wanting to take that fight. That's a Matari ultimate burned early, which is brilliant news for Bowder's you, who has this V1 ready to go if they can collapse onto this team. But it does look like SS1 were able to reposition before Bowder were able to lock them down.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Bowder lost to. They actually lost their first set of lives, so this is their second set of pair in the first minutes of the round. And now EWG are going to be on the arrival here. They only lost 2 of their 3 for the first set of lives. XI still has that Soul Alter revive just in case he needs it. Tessa enchant to counteract the Viper stun and making sure she is slow and steady for that quick RMB. There it is, a horizontal 1 HP in a dream. The Wu-Tang port comes out just in time. Bowder has a chance of repositioning here in the southeast of the tank courtyard, but EWG...
Oh no, the bounty. WBG just put a bounty on Bowder. So they teleported, and that must have put them close enough to WBG that it registered as Bowder being the closest team to them. And I'm pretty sure EWG saw where the Wuchen teleport took them.
Mm-hmm. You know, WBG is over by the city of Tang too, so this is not that far away from the team to come back in here.
I'm keeping an eye on the mini-map. If WBG were in the area close enough to get a bounty onto Bowder, they're going to be close to EWG, but Bowder unfortunately not getting the opportunity to run WBG into them, as heading over now to Matab. There's going to be Wolves going head-to-head with Alliance. Alliance with that Zai F2. 3 players get hit by the Viper F3. They all stacked up in the same position. Oh no!
F2 for the Matari or for the Zai to get them out here, but the Matari ultimate still up for a couple of seconds. XCM has V1. This is free real estate if they can lock down, but the parry comes out. The F3 comes out. We avoid the stagger from the Matari, and XCM looks to kite around as often as possible, using that dagger to its full potential, making sure everything is expended before they fully commit here with a potential ultimate. And the Wu-Chang gets them out, but Dessa still has a chance here of building up rage when that team decides to want to push, but I guess not. They don't want to take the risk and catching that smoke.
I mean, they needed to get out because Alliance don't have smoke, they have Moonbin, which is a lot of AoE fire. And it is going to be a very good Wuchen teleport so that they can reposition, as well as potentially putting themselves into a position to hold Ballista over if Alliance do want to try to fully commit to this chase. And you can see how reluctant the team are is heading over to Frozen Lake. It is going to be TE. Purple armor and weapons equipped for their Zai. They are good to go. Unlike the Tianhai, and the Takeda, which relies on a lot more scaling, that Zai is a budget composition. So they are going to be scaled, ready to take that first realm of Yang. In comparison, a lot of the Sun Siphon compositions you can see from the V3, Jin hasn't even been able to hit purple rarity.
Yeah, level 2 ultimate is just shy away. They need a couple more weapon mags and a couple more weapons, or just higher rarity weapons in general, and that comes at a cost just over the course of time, right? That's where we scale up or scale down, or to the level. But X1, they are nearby. Due next, heard a grapple in the sky. It's XOY, 100% has the ultimate to be raidable. CDI has 100% ultimate as well. Purple armor's on the standby. X1 a little bit more mitigated out. Still has a Wu Chen port to be placed out from LID, and a Moonbane to be placed out for this engagement if they time it just right.
ZDI has that Viper V1. Just looking for the drop-down R&B on that fan if you can find it. They're putting pressure onto Xiao Hu as well, trying to force this Kurumi to use that tether. Then they're going to be able to go in for the actual kill, but Blistering Edge is going to be revealed. Tesla ultimate comes out first. Moonbane is going to get dropped down. Fury and Shove interrupts before ZDI can find the drop down R&B with that fan. As every single one of these players has to reposition using these Fury and Shoves to keep X1 off of their back so they can get out of this Moonbane before the fight actually goes through.
Yeah, we still have wolves showing up here from the south side. They heard everything. They've seen everything on the map. And the F3 comes out. Perfect execution for the armor. Now the Temi circle comes through. This gives wolves an idea. The investment for the ultimates are at an all-time low right now, or all-time high, I should say. V1 comes out from ZDI. They know they can push after this ultimate for the Viper stun, and they can go for the cleanup crew. Do next to get stunned here, and the chance to be good here. Wolves want to sneak up here. As Shen 1, this is one's coming in here, and a Warrior Burst reveal coming in from the X1. For them right now, they are cherry pickings for these teams that they really want to commit towards getting that Jade if the potential for the drop comes out.
Yeah, FPX tried to back up towards that Moonbane, weren't able to find it. X1 ZDI just able to keep chasing them far and far away so that these teams coming for the third party turn onto the low health targets and give their team a free pass to just go and find that loot. You can see SS1 Fortified looking for that third party. Backs on off. Wolves very much committed. Come on through with another drop down R&B on that fan. That Fixer Xiao is just not ready to deal with.
Yeah, and FPX goes down completely into this round. It's going to be only 10 teams left, and Romy Yang 1 ain't even up. And SS1, Ling goes down. This might be the end for SS1. Oh, no, there's still one more teammate. But Alliance finds the 4th elimination as a result, and we still only have one left round in the vicinity for SS1 to stay alive and try to see about working out and getting the teams back up. TE, Imperial Village towards the waterfall, looking to purchase out here as they are the Xiphon, and they got another purple armor purchased from the shop. This is going to be for TE14 to be picking up. So for them right now, taking this Romy Yang, it's their biggest contention in terms of just catching eliminations. This is where they excel at. This is what they can take. I want to see what Day2 got though, because they've been working around here for the most majority of time before we start this Romy Yang fight, seeing what can switch around the fight that gives the opponents a little bit of trouble. Nothing too crazy. Switch dazzle, sunwing shot, but a blistering edge from TE14, that could be enough to create some sort of pressure against these guys.
Yeah, multiple ways to proc that fire burn damage. Let's come on out. Looks for the jump LMB to connect onto Alliance before they can use those pillars and Skull Rush. Very early F2 into Matari ultimate. Wash still holding on to his ultimate cast as well. Just looking for these parries on the spear. Gets the Kurumi Tether so he can set up the Skull Rush and go more aggressively into the front line of Alliance with the jump LMB catches onto these pillars. Does take a little bit of damage, utilizes that V2 knockback to set up into the fire cone tick into the F2. We talked about that burn damage reduction, and it really is having a massive impact against Alliance. But T's Wash now gets hit by the Blistering Edge himself before setting up into that second fire cone tick, and that is going to be more than enough to scoop the players of Alliance into the follow-up damage from his players. But the Zai, without the damage reduction from the Kurumi, goes down, and Alliance even things out. It's now a 2 versus 1. It's just cleanup. The F2 doesn't find the connection that it's looking for, but it does kite T's Leo, holding him in position so the Matari can follow up. That is Alliance with the turnaround.
That's a swoop and a half right then and there. And they're going to be picking themselves up gold pair of dual blades, purple katana, getting themselves another switch dazzle into the build. But we also see JL taking fights against JDG and finding victory in their stead. WBG and OBG, they're still in the fights in the Romy Yang. And seeing that A-Shot got a kill against the King, Usually the King's the last one alive, and that's going to be the case. WBG take their victory in the Romiang as it stands. This is going to be coming out towards the trenches. We're going to see EWG working around here and seeing what is up with that Spearwell buff, as they had been able to pick it up as a Viper Witch and Tessa team. 2 eliminations on the dock for them. Purple armors across the board. Purple weapons across the board, it seems like. And having the chances of just seeing about any outlier teams and make sure that if they are looking to hunt around for eliminations to get rid of Romiang depletion, they are on it. And guess what? 2 of them are Xiphon comps, and one of them is a Sand Siphon.
Yeah, JDG and TE 8th and 9th place respectively, going to be stuck with Yang depletion. WBG out hunting, trying to figure out where these teams are going to be spawning and up from. JL also trekking over to these spaces that have these utilities, the dealers, the forbidden seals, the bell, potentially bounty scrolls as well. Frozen Lake always has a whole chunk of those quests. So it is going to be WBG versus Alliance. WBG with that Vermilion Bird's Might and legendary Fist Blades is going to be massively scaled up in terms of the damage that Walker can do if he finds these grabs, if he gets the opportunity to use them, because he's getting melted by a Zai with a legendary scaled ultimate too.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit healed back with that hot. He's going to be going ahead and swiping left and right to try to stop that pressure from the ground. It's an Assassin's Lunge V2. The ensnare comes out. JDG is showing up here against Alliance. WBG are in the ropes, and this is going to be a good chance for Tutek to go for the spam RMBs if he can. Revenge looking to see about the whole check. Gets a parry on the dash, but he couldn't even commit towards it. He thought it was going to be another parry, and a potential comes out where Tutek finds the ultimate to be invested and catches all 3 targets here in one fell swoop. And a parry like that again isn't going to be allowed, my friend. Revenge goes down for that Vermilions, and Tutek is finding the 3rd elimination for the team, but up to the 4th one, potentially, if A-Shell can still tap dodge around. It looks like Jing found it for them, and Kiki found NY7. That's 5 on the board for JDG, up to around 8th place.
Lovely synergy coming on through from Tusik and Kiki. Kiki with the uppercut connections off of that fan from the Fury and Shove setups. That is Takeda, then pushed even further with the charged RMB. And Tutik has really been impressing on the Takeda this season. Normally when we talk about Takeda, we talk about players like Night HQ, but he's definitely up there as one of the best. As TE's Wash comes on out with that Zai ultimate into the F2, just absolutely tearing through JL, who will still survive inside this lobby, just down their Vermilion Bird's Might. TE, off of the back of that fight win, have been able to pick up 2 Soul Blooms, but unfortunately for them, they're still missing 1. Their Mitari is yet to be cleansed, because OUG are in an even rougher position. None of their players have been able to find a single Soul Bloom, and they've got to be running out of time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if TE wants to go towards Cinnabar Valley, but they would find a fight on the outskirts of here, over by the city of Tong. Now the F1 comes out inside of the timing circle, and Tutik looks to rebound towards it, but the V2 Zai comes out from Jingyu. This is OUG's position right now and there. We've got 80 seconds on the clock here. We're throwing the gold focuses left and right, but the Kurumi circle is going to sustain us in the zone for as long as time goes through, and we have armor available. It's all about the burn tick damage that really comes out post Kurumi ultimate, continuously creating that burn. The F2 is available, but Jingyu is just throwing gold focus strikes left and right, and he connects that V2 on JDG Xing on Tutik, and he is developing them in an enveloped fire, and Alliance finds their position to just snag everything left behind.
Oh, yep, the 3rd party comes on through. OUG were able to get the blooms, but they haven't been able to get out safely. Alliance's NY7 still with this IV2 as well. Gonna be able to force that Scarus coming out from OUG's Jinyu, who just has to go deeper and deeper into that Corruption Tick damage. It's still early Corruption Zone damage. It's not gonna be the brutal killer that it is towards the end of this game. But unfortunately, it does look like Alliance might just try and loot up these bodies and then reposition out of the zone. As you can see, the regroup coming on through from Yuma. Revenge also overhead spotted on that mini-map. Gotta be careful that they don't just get held, because that zone is moving really far away from them. They really murder goggled onto that fight against OUG. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to live it. I don't know if Jinyu is gonna be able to live it. He's having to utilize the F2.
Never say
he gets
never.
the grapple.
Never
He
say
doesn't
never.
get stuck in the rock. No!
Listen, NY7's out there. He's like, hey, what was that noise? But now it's up to the King. The King is deep in there too. Well, no, he's not too deep. You know, he's right on the corner. TE found the rebirth charms, and he found the usage. He's gonna go ahead and get his teammate back up. Shout out to the homies. Now it's up to the King though. Just kite around because he sees Yuma. He doesn't know it's Yuma, but he knows it's somebody in Alliance. They see him. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they saw him.
This is a def 1 usage for him to kite around, but that healing is already at like 80% deficit. So he's just going to go ahead and just create as much time to just die out of the zone. He finds Jingyu. I'm not sure that was a great opportunity, but then again, last hit confirmation here. F2, Skadoosh. No, we looking for 1 hit, man. Wow, I can't believe it. NY7 really out here in the last possible second, but it works out, man. That's going to be up to 11 eliminations, and that's Alliance here as the kill leaders before we get into the second round Yang.
Yeah, and in the meantime, no one's contesting Spiral. UWG get it for free, even through the ghostly misses. You can see the silent ghost hand just coming on through. The only contest that EWG had was a weather effect. As we are going to see JL just trading Tuna to make sure that it is going to be proccing for both of these players. Every little bit of sustain really does count for these Tian highs. Scarish from that fan charges up so incredibly quickly. WG's HI, I'm not expecting it, having to reposition fully behind his teammates to absorb all of that pressure. Hottie ultimate comes on through, setting up both of these players to be able to reposition with that combo breaker up into the sky. As One Fang looks for the isolation again onto WBG Xiao, forcing with the R&B off of that fan, that Hardy Cube coming into play immediately, and he knows that that's not going to be able to come back on through. The Valda F2 is forced, the Valda ultimate is forced, and One Fang's done his job absolutely beautifully. The Tian High and the Valda ultimates are going to be out of sync.
I like how Sleepwalker is holding his ultimate for Fang and vice versa, because that's all it comes down to between both of these Tian highs, but it might have been a little bit too late. A-Shao is down, and Sleepwalker is already at 2/3, half health. He's already at 1/4 right now for his HP. He's trying to jetpack away and getting high point pillars and just looking for grass. But less than alone, he's the only one left on the team right now to try to stay alive, and that's going to be the case scenario. And just going for time. I'm really curious in seeing what that came through. I mean, the Voldo getting burned out and still no Tian high procs coming through here. It was perfect. It was great. VVV came out to get the Voldo coil just to make sure to deny here, and they just deleted it. Aquila's Crest, or not Aquila's Crest, straight over towards the near to the Altar Tranquility, north of Falcon's Bridge and all that stuff. This is where X1 is going to be focusing into the Sky Zone. Put your seatbelts on, right? Because it's going to be a flight if it's going to be anything between both a Tessa, Viper, Wuchen, or a Xiphon.
This is going to be so unfortunate as well for the teams of Yang Depletion, because this is one of the worst areas, the entirety of Naraka, in all 3 of the maps, that you want to be taking a fight if you have Yang Depletion. We talked about Matab having so many layers, so too does Plumed. And there are a lot of spots for these players to be able to hide away from. SS1 Gen 1. With that fan just trying to utilize those fast charging Scourishes and escape, but unfortunately does get hit into that Tessa enchantment. Utilizes that V2 and the F2 cast to get on top of the pillar and try and break away to that teammates with that Kurumi armor circle and the Teva. Gen 1 is actually going to be able to live, as well as the Kurumi able to utilize the Teva to teleport to the Zai's position, and X1 are denied the kill that they were looking for. Lovely movement tech coming on through from that Zai.
Gotta appreciate my Kurumis though whenever they use it as a Matara, you know what I'm saying? Just teleport straight through past and finding the line of sight. Great feeling. JL, swapping out gear here left and right. We haven't seen anything in terms of the majority of stuff. They do have a Cabloom on the standby, so that is something that they do have on the builds. EDWG over by Beast Pen. This is the southwest corner of Imperial Village. They are not too far away from JL. JL decides to hit up here. It's only like 5 grapples away for them to find this Draco Storm Aura. And there's going to be a Martial Art Will Form Hook and a Benthic Descent onto Leeway as a Sap Jade as well. Cookie has the Jades of Destiny, bro. Sap, Advanced Group Heal. He's got it all. And you know what? It's crazy. Advanced Heal on XI means this man ain't going to die anytime soon. This is going to be a perfect situation. Mortal Defiance on VVV as well as a jabbing. We're going to see a level 4 Juggernaut on TXJ with the Martial Art, with the Phantom Step, and with Fire Sarkalok and the Cyan Fang and the Tuna, right? That's the Tuna that we saw that was being rotated in the Romy Yang. And he's going to be the all-in-all build for DPS.
We've got one team going to be going for this respawn. It's going to be WBG with Yang Depletion, and unfortunately for them, they're the only team with Yang Depletion. So they're not going to run into another team that's in the same situation and rising out towards the outskirts of this map. X1 going to be going head-to-head with Wolves. Viper ultimate from XEM does manage to isolate these players from SS1, scattered off into separate fragments. And it's X1, though, who come in with the third-party kill steal. SS1's 2-2 is going to go down. Poison Splash procs on off. Both of these teams slowly starting to back on off Wolves. just wanting a couple of resources, X1 wanting a couple of resources. Neither of these teams really wanting an all-out fight, as they understand there is a team still with Yang depletion. They do not want to go for the full commitment because they'll be vulnerable to a third party coming on through, as the Tesla ultimate is going to be forced now that the zone moves on through and these players are forced to reposition.
You know, someone put the boss team, a Herbalist, in the background. Jang One's gonna be locked into this corner. Sobloom to be picked up here. Cookie, my man, dab me up, bro. After that interview, man, I'm looking at you, looking for the Ballista bolts. Who are you hitting? A-Shao? Okay, he's not gonna really worry about it. He's at half armor. He's gonna reset that. But Cookie can stay on his Ballista for as long as Leeway and XI can make it back into the zone, so that way he can defend his team. Wolves still in the zone, kiting around.
They're gonna try and revive that Wu-Chen, I think.
I think so, and if they do that, that's going to be a really good surprise if they see WBG taking this fight, because they need to take it. They got under 2 minutes right now for that Yang depletion.
No! Walker, grapple, mistake, means that it is going to cost him precious distance to be able to try and collapse on top of EWG. They are, however, able to collapse on top of the Tesla, so that is going to be the enchantment forced. Rek'Sai trying to take advantage of the moment, goes for the Viper V1. Walker manages to iframe out of that stun, now looks for these grabs. Can he find it? Wu-Chen Windwalls come on first, but he doesn't get access to those. The fight has been spotted out, and this is really bad news for WBG. They're right next to the Spirit Well. JL is literally less than 20 meters away from them, and we're about to come through into this fight, and third party with a buff. And it's White Tiger's prowess.
Yeah, they're looking for the snags here. There's going to be the strike coming out. X-Ice caused by the Test Enchant, and there's a strike to deny it. Double Valda Coil, Longsword Beam. This is the best case scenario, bro. And that's a goal Longsword, by the way. X-Ice gets caught by the second coil, and it's going to be a Test Enchant. And the Wu-Chen Port gets them out. Are they safe? Are they safe enough? Let me rephrase that. X1, ZDI, and Wolves are in front of them. They better start resetting right now. They think they're getting chased. They don't have no worries yet. Those two teams are interacting with one another. But look at that crew. Look at the advance heal. Remember what I said, right? EWG had the sustain format right now for surviving. The group heal and advance is on Wu-Chen, but an advance heal on the Viper on top of that just gives her enough time just to go ahead and deduct less time healing, more time movement.
Well, something we should note is that Wolves were indeed able to pick up that Wu-Chen. Unfortunately, WBG are going to be fully eliminated from this lobby. Yang depletion. It's just really an awkward spot for any composition, but especially so for the Tian Hai Vada, where you have no choice. You have to all in. The way that that composition plays, the line that composition uses, is the Tian Hai and the Vada utilize their ultimate at the same time in those fights to set up for each other. If you get third party by any team, especially a team running around with better loot and White Tiger's Paris, there is absolutely nothing that you can do. As JL with 50 seconds left, still have that White Tiger's Paris and are still going to be getting aggressive off of the back of it. This time, they're very much trying to put the pressure onto Wolves, force out one of these Tessa ultimate enchantments so that they can back on off, or potentially just looking for the kill, because that cavalry bloom off of Hardy Reset forced the Wu-Chen teleport, and Wolves now are running without a safety line.
Yeah, the moment you get knocked back and then into a Cavalry, that's a free flop state, and that's just exactly what Wolves did not want. They didn't want to lose it. Blue armors and not a lot of gear to kind of work off of, so Wolves really have to play this insurance case. EWG rising to the occasion. Gold fist plates coming out from XI. Making sure X1 looking for the bow shots. Obviously, a little surprise here for X1. Like, hey, wait a second. And then he has to back off, right? This is going to be the cliffside fight over towards the Ice Shard Lake. Now, this is where JL also has a chance. White Tigers is gone. No buff is going to be available for them. TXJ took a little bit of burn damage, or rather zone tick damage. As you can see, some players actually entering the zone, EWG especially. Try to see what they can kind of work through. I don't know if there's going to be an Ice Storm to be available in here in this time of day, but there is a Moonbane, and that is going to be dropping. This is the final Moonbane in the game, and it's cornering off this entire mountainside, so no one can go on these cliffs unless they're looking for a situation. And by that, I mean 900 tick damage to be burned out in a split second.
Yeah, no snowstorms on the forecast today. Or if you're in the UK, snowstorms to be forecast tomorrow. We do have, like you said, a Moonbane coming in through, and all of these teams positioned accordingly. No one wants to get caught out where they're vulnerable and have to go through the absolute horror show that is Moonbane surfing, where instead of a battle royale, Naraka turns into a horror game.
That part. You know, we're playing, yo, where the generator at? I need to go ahead and repair that. Stop. Listen.
The amount of times I've been jump scared by just sudden back-to-back-to-back AoE Bane spreads. I don't know. Moonbane surfing is a dangerous pastime, as all teams in the MVPL know.
Yeah, you know, it's even crazier, right? Tian Hai's grab and they run into Moonbane. That's the best part. I've like just witnessing that. I'm like, man. That's crazy. But everything comes out at the cost. JL high ground position on Tianhai. Ooh-wee. But the cannon shots can still connect here for a little bit. The shots are from Yuma, trying to deny this point of staying up here, but they ain't caring, man. He's got eight armor patterns. He doesn't care about this. There's no burn off of that cannon, so he really knows.
3 sets of legendary armors.
Yeah, they do. And a stack. They went to the corner store, 2 for 1. But everything comes out. Wolves is on the low ground. The Moonbane is done. Now they have a safety net spot. Now here's the thing about Wolves, right? We saw them with blue armors. Now they got 1 purple armor. It's going to be on XEM. They rise to the occasion, no pun intended, to climb the mountaintop and just keep eyes peeled left and right. Who is left and who can I just make sure and just capturing? Because there is no greater threat than seeing a Tianhai still in the field of play. But when you see 3 of the same characters in your comp still alive, gotta be worried about whether or not there's gonna be a Xiphon on the right side to try to comment you off the cliffs, the hilltop, and just send you out and denying you, which gives your teammates more issues at hand. They have to take care of you at that point, like a baby in a stroller, because at that point, you gotta make sure that your teammate doesn't get deleted out, for better or for worse.
I mean, you've also got to be careful if you're a Viper that you don't go for your V1 when another Viper has already used their ultimate, because that CC snaps your ultimate and you lose the entire rage bar. As we are going to be seeing TE losing all of their health. However, it's Wolves who are going to be able to find the kill. And this is bad news for JL. It was on to one thing. The Tianhai is down. The question is, can JL find the revive? They don't have the Kurumi. If it was traditional Transformers, you would be able to tether and potentially bring your Tianhai back up. But unfortunately for JL, they do not have that option. So even if they bring the Tianhai back through, one thing is immediately going to have to go for that ultimate to get the health reset, or he's going to have a lot of peel coming through from his players. And it looks like JL might just have decided to cut him loose. Yeah, he has indeed bled out. JL still have VVV. They can still win the heal-off situation, but it's going to be a lot harder for them to be able to run this lobby as dominantly as if they had that full composition in play. And this means that we're going to be seeing a little bit of a not quite lull in action, but very much these teams wanting to just go for the poke fight. Death by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 musket shots, and just as many cannon shots coming on through from all of these players, and no one wants to go for the ultimate first because that's just painting a target on your back.
You're going to see Tess and Chance back and forth in this cliffside. He has been staying here for as long as they can with Leo, getting the Kurumi Parasol, but now he might be deleted. His enchant is done. His HP is down to 0. 9HQ finds elimination. This is going to be a huge kill as the Wolves packing up the shop of getting the eliminations here up to 7 or 6, I should say, in a total sense. X1 now takes the low ground. Obviously, XEM is on his A game sniping out. He got 14 out as well. This man is getting all these musket shots. And Y7, make sure he can get his high ground position, invest in the F2. Having to get caught by a test and chance, not the best case scenario, but hey, as long as he can create verticality, he doesn't get caught by range shots, blue shots, anything of the nature, he could be safe for a couple of seconds. The V1 from the zipping comes out for a clutch moment, and he heals back the damage that is just dealt out to him. He's got F2, but he lost Yuma, so now there's no reset from Matari ultimate as it comes out. After it's been casted, that's all he's going to be left alone with.
JL playing silent, not wanting to get spotted, eyeing up that kill score multiplier being the last team standing. Everybody else currently eyeing up all of the kills on the players below them. Everyone who took cover in Sanctuary up on the low ground when they needed that heal reset are now going to have to grapple into all of this damage as the storm closes away from that low and forces everyone up onto the high, which in teleport is going to give a couple of these teams the ability to bypass the security check that X1 put them under. And now Wolves starts trying to make that play, but have to now play recovery, as again it's going to be a Tessa enchantment coming in through. XM with the scale rushes put himself up onto that corner. Aurora Burst is going to get interrupted, but XM does still manage to get hit by that silence. The V1 comes on through. You can see all of those tethers snapping onto every single player in the location. The drop down is good, but there is 0 follow through that Wolves can have. They just have to use it to buy themselves a little bit of time. But speaking about buying time, Serve, look at what JL are doing. They've still got the Volda. They've still got the Hottie. They're going to win the heal off if these players aren't careful.
Where's my Teslas, bro? Where's my XLY random ultimate through the rocks, man? All I gotta do is hit straight up. Everything comes into those 2 players. If they can stay alive like how they're doing right now, that's all they need. But we have 40 seconds on the clock. I'm not sure how many of these players really want to try to contest it, because you still have Alliance on the kill leader spread. They are in first, but they only got 2 people left, right? We got to see whether or not that Zaya ultimate will come in time with enough rage to be gained from soul blooms or kills or just damage dealt and rage damage taken as well. XI sees his chance here and seeing about that Tessa enchant. He could look for the connection. He finds it. Everyone's above the circle of this final circle off the palace wall coming through here. There's a stun in the zone. This is big. This is going to be where EWG can get the eliminations off the corner, and there's gonna be the Volta coil. Guess what? BVB, he's back into the game. TXJ goes down, but that not be enough. He's got enough HP to survive this out here, and he finds him and his team in first place, not for MVP, but just for surviving off that multiplier.
EWG cookie interview buff walk away with the MVP. Surely that's got to give them some level of comfort, because their placement towards that top 6 is very, very fragile. You can see when we looked at some of the teams before and they got those MVPs, there were smiles, there were grins, there were comfort. EWG, there's a little bit of a relief, but it's not a full okay, we know that we've qualified moment just yet. However, massive clutches coming through from them. Like we talked about, JL very much eyeing up the kill score multiplier, very much wanting to deny other teams from being able to pick it up. But EWG able to take advantage of all of the chaos going down. Because we saw so many Tester ultimates, so many Viper ultimates, but EWG and X1 were the ones coming in with kills off of the back of all of them. And those yellow tier areas, which does mean much better loot. So it's going to be FPX and WBG going head to head, and Walker's already been able to find a weapon. The same, unfortunately, cannot be said for FPX or Xiaohu.
Xiaohu's F hasn't been invested yet. There it goes. The test enchant is good. The Firefly's been picked up from the Breezy Maze on top of the Moonlit Courtyard. WBG goes down 1. Xiaohu goes down. It's 2v2 coming out here for the F2 for the Viper, or for the Vault, I should say. Soulbloom pick up here, crucial. They can find it for the resustain. There it is, a reset coming out from Zhao. Now the F2 comes out. The sounds good. The parry is fantastic. Yo, A-Shao gets have the jump RMB. And we're just going to go ahead and jump LMB and look for the chase down. Stormform proc, jump dash LMB, and another dash LMB. FBX can get their team back into play.
Yeah, we'll be able to find the revive onto Xiaohu. In the meantime, JL and JDG going to be going head to head. One thing with that Karumi Tava, trying not to snap it for that early hit, and 2-6 more than happy that he's been able to force that utility out. He's able to come in through with the Zai V2 since the Karumi is not there to be able to cleanse that fire damage. And this Zai, even though it's gray weapon rarity, it's still absolutely shredding through until JL turn around with a Zai ultimate of their own.
Now JDG going to be going ahead on the cusp of getting eliminated for the first set of lives. Over all the way near Fiery Cave, OUG making sure they can go forth with that parry, and seeing the F3 come out from that Viper. She goes down. ZDI is done for X1 so far, but we see LYD get his F, but he's still getting caught. Blue Focus is coming down here from that Tessa on top of the rooftop. The enchant was anticipated from SS. He goes for the R&B. He connects it. XOY goes down. LYD, the last one left to go through, and there's going to be the jump LB, and X1 has gone through for the first set of lives. The King and SS harboring the kills for 3 total for OUG.
That is not the start that X1 wanted to this game. They are so close to being in the top 6. But unfortunately, sir, they're just on the outskirts of it. 7th position. In fact, both X1, JDG, and TE in 7th, 8th, and 9th position have all burned through their rebuffs already, which is not great. But it goes back to that point that we were talking about earlier. When it comes to that additional layer of pressure, some of these teams really struggle to be able to uphold themselves.
Yeah, and especially coming down in terms of like, oh man, it's a Zai, you know, and having to force that. The turnaround can always come through. It's just how well can you kind of adapt past that point. Viper and Tessa, especially if they have a test to go through, you're thinking she's got to have an ultimate, or she, you know, and then all of a sudden, boom, bam, bop, F3 from Viper from left field, and then you're in a panic mode, just like I've seen WBG. I'm seeing the Ouroboros comp coming through here. SS1, Shen 1 having the more Moonbane from SS1 is crucial as WBG trying to sightline down south. They got to be careful. These tree lines are great and all, but if they needed to use an ultimate to kind of work off here, like how A-Shao has it active right now, it is not going to be a chance for those Fireflies to be picked up. And Sleepwalker just trying to look for a connection here for the grabs.
Almost finds one, hasn't quite been able to get it until just now. Ling is going to get grabbed and slammed. That is going to be one kill taken away, and another grab immediately for Walker. The repeater crossbow comes on through, and that is going to be Gen 1 going down to the bow shot. WBG feeling confident, put themselves into the moonbeam while it's still active to be able to clear the field of these players from SS1. Guarantee that they can just manage to finish off this fight before this other play can kite away and other teams in the area can roll up for that third party. As WBG, down the Valor ultimate, down the TNI ultimate, are going to be an easy target if another team rolls on up with their interest peaked because of that Moonbane. A team like Wolves who have the full loadout ready to go with this Viper composition. And it's a good thing that WBG were already in motion to reposition because Wolves are hot on their heels.
Yeah, I was about to make mention Jing had his ultimate ready to go here from WBG to set up that teleporter. A huge utilization. No burns, ticks, no need for the burn. He is going straight for the 1s and 2s. Sets up the teleporter. We got 20 seconds on the clock right now for the team to kind of work off of understanding that. Yo, I can't believe this man's wave rolling everything. He's going to be going ahead and backing off over this corner. Has F3 in 2 seconds. A shot if he's wishing enough to go through. Teleporters are taken. A third party comes out. FBX, they can look for this chance here. This could be their moment, but that's going to be a Wu-Tang part to get the team out in the opposite direction. XCM will probably be the first one in line of fire if it comes down to him being the last place in the race of escape.
Yeah, they're going to be able to make it away before FBX can collapse on top of them. Thankfully for them, they Wu-Chen teleported before a player went down, which is one of the things that these Wu-Chens have had to adapt into with the grapple speed and grapple distance coverage, as well as the nerf to the distance the teleport can cover. You don't have the same level of opportunity that you had in the past as a Wu-Chen to get that teleport out with a dead body, find the revive, and then reposition. And because of this, we're sort of seeing a lot of these Wu-Chens pop their ultimate much earlier than they would in the past, making it out when their teammates are a sliver of health away from death, but not quite dead. And off of the back of that, they don't have to slow down, they don't have to revive, they don't have to do an armor swap handover. They can just gun it with the grapples in the opposite direction before they can get jumped onto.
Exactly. And this is going to be a chance and scene about the showcase. Xiphon up against Xiphon for the matchup. Mirror matchup. Not going to happen. Nah, they don't want to do it. It's all right. It's going to be a Zest Winery drop over here. And since we're going to be looking towards the Rumying in 2.5 minutes, I don't even know if there's going to be any chances for them wanting to take this fight. Two-Tick having purple armor, blue weapon. Purple weapon onto Matari over there for Jing, though, so they're not going to scale up with her unless he just has a secondary weapon to be available. I didn't even look at the rarity of the bow and see if it was purple just for him to swap into. We'll have to see. Over towards Mohism Haven, though, Leeway going to have a purple pole sword. Now it's Cookie getting engaged upon. We're going to look to see about what the case is. How far away is Cookie? Because this man is getting hit by OUG. They're locking in right now. This is going to be a Viper versus, Viper Wuchentessa versus a Xiphon. F musket shot. Yo, I like it. I like it. F3 knocking in here. This is tough for Cookie. He's going to go to the Skybound, but with that Tessa and chance going to be ready when he drops down.
Yeah, had to utilize that F2 to break away, but that leaves XI on the zip vulnerable. Viper doesn't have the F3 back just yet, but when she does, oof, that's going to be a rough one. Tempest Kick comes on through from those fist blades, but unfortunately, SS, once he goes for the cast of that soldier, he is static in his positions, which is one of the fallbacks from this chain. That being said, OUG is the king, utilizes the distraction to come on through with the unexpected Dragon Slayers into Nessus. Everyone was looking at the Viper with the fist blades. No one was anticipating that cleave off the golden frame of the Nessus. But this is what we talked about, right? OUG losing a lot of the health, having to utilize that Wish and teleport, trying to break away. But the Zai with the F2 has the means to chase down and will be able to find the connection onto the king.
We gotta drop that Jade SS. That Jade has to go, bro. We gotta go ahead and drop it. It's too late though. OUG gonna see their eliminations go through. They're gonna first lose their lives. Man, bro. Tempest Kick. It better not get it. I don't want it to get omnidirectional attacks. I don't want the buff, but we just saw a witness of what happens when you had old school jabbing right there. Where jabbing, you couldn't move, you were stuck in the animation. And that just happened right there. For Tempest Kick, man, if it got the changes that I would hope not to get, which is just moving around left and right, oh man, I don't want to think about it. But that's an example of what happens when you use that Jade in the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that he was trying to be mobile with the kicks. You saw how he was trying to he was trying to essentially use the verticals to kind of work past and close gap in the distance and then just keep moving. He is so locked in that animation the moment that it starts up that he can't move for like 2 seconds. It feels like it. He can't do anything past that point.
You throw your hip out every single time you cast Tempest Kick. That's my headcanon. your just ligament muscle on your leg just snaps. and your hip froze out, and you have to take a little bit of downtime to wait for it to repair. As it is going to be Wolves versus Bowder, potentially for control of this realm of Yang. Nope. Yu just comes on through with the Takeda F1 activation to make sure that there's no shenanigans of any of these players before the portal can come through. And we're going to get to see Sand Siphon versus TE with the zipping coming on through from them. Yu takes to the sky. Gets interrupted though by the R&B off the fan coming on through from TE before swapping on over to that bow. Kurumi versus Zip. Matari ultimate coming in almost immediately as Yuran clears a lot of the space that they had access to with the Temi ultimate. And that is still going to be the Zai holding on to the V2. Will they be able to utilize it from Wash? Or as bad as you just going to be able to utilize these Furin shoves and keep the Zai in permanent stagger?
It might be happening here. The fans, R&Bs, are going absolutely ballistic. And the dash LMBs are no joke from Iran to keep them in place. That was a clean sweep. You gotta go to the next round Yang fight because that was so fast, man. I need more content. I need to see what's happening. Gold dagger pickup from you. Oh my goodness. He's gonna be converted net to a fan frame one.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be a chance to see the Jade twin shots gonna be picked up. They already have poison and barb bolts in their build as well. So they have it to be available later on if they have a crossbow to be of utmost importance to swap out. So Bowder looking pretty snaz. We're gonna see a fight over by the Sun Cave, and this is fire on the flaming cage, and these guys were going crazy for as long as they went through. But the Wuchen port gets FPX out. SS1 are still looting this out and make sure everything is picked, clean to the bone.
Alliance do look like they're going to be able to come out up against JL, but Bowder with you on the field does not have a legendary found just yet. He's utilizing a purple one instead, but the fear and shove into charge R&B is just as brutal. Does get hit by the Valda Spear, but he has this Kurumi to have that ultimate and armor circle to make sure that he's able to recover. So the Hardy ultimate is coming on through. They're trying to put enough pressure onto this Takeda, but Bowder doing a very good job of just getting you to go and kite towards the Fireflies to get another cast of the V3 to come through, and that is not good for WBG. They've still got Walker's ultimate, but remember, they've already utilized the Valder ultimate, so there is nothing stopping Bowder from just running away and waiting Walker's ultimate out before turning back into the fight anew with that Takeda ultimate still good to go.
It's crazy too is the fact that, the moment I saw the Valda ult end and then the TNI, I was like, bros, look at him. He's going to be hopping around like he's playing a side scroller. He's going to have another team behind him though. X1 Draco Storm. They got themselves all the ultimates, all the gear, everything necessary. Common bow, who cares? We got purple Howards and we're about to blow up this. Yep, there it is. LID gets the elimination though. Vermillions is still in the hands right now though. So for everything coming out, X1 will eliminate these targets to hopefully kill them off later on to get more points earning. But this is the invasion right now. This is going to be where you procs his Takeda ultimate to try to counteract, but it is not going to be enough. The timing is of the essence.
Oh, ZDI with the backtrack, managing to catch on to the Bowder players when they hit behind that tree into the Tesla ultimate enchantment. With that Draco Storm, they're doing so much damage, especially fighting the juggle onto Bowder's peak. The Kurumi recast will be able to come on through before peak goes down, providing Bowder a temporary respite, potentially actually giving them the opportunity to turn this fight around. But Draco Storm still in the mix. Jump LMB from the dual halberds, but they've attracted FPX coming on through with this Flamer. And X1 now gonna have to be careful that they don't bite off more than they can chew.
Now it's a big chance here for ZDI. 90% got in that soul room. Is going to be having his V1 ultimate for the Viper very soon. FPX Shao finds the elimination. Bowder U goes down for the Vermillions. Now FPX, they got to test an enchant to be in 10 percentage points right now. So timing is of the essence because NY7 is looking for blood. He went straight for ultimate after the F2. He needs to get these eliminations. These guys need to be safe. There's the V2. We know we're looking out for the boys in the alliance, and the parry is not said, and NY7 finds it. My man's like, I'm looking out for you, Kelly. I'm making sure I get this going through because now it's a V2. Now it's a connection. And this is where everything can crumble within a moment because this Viper Stun could be a detriment to the health bars and they're all connected.
X1 still in the area though with that Draco Storm just before it runs out, turning back into this fight, turning onto Alliance. And it doesn't even look close. Poison Splash will come through. But honestly, that's one of the most bits of damage that CDI took that entire engagement. As FX's Yahoo now gets hit into that Tesla enchantment. And it's just going to be light attack stagger after light attack stagger. Lockdown. WBG going to be going head-to-head against TE. Both of these teams trying to cleanse that Yang depletion. JDG 53 seconds left to be able to pick up the Soul Bloom. but WBG not making it easy for them. TE also coming into the mix with that Grave. And all of these teams with Yang depletion serve, I'm pretty sure they're all about to time out. There's OUG's SS with the Viper V1, forces the Wu-Chen reposition with that teleport, and that's going to be surely JDG with their last remaining player. Going to get spotted out by EWG's Cookie, and JDG so close to the top 6, going out in 8th position with one more round to go.
Seriously, it's going to be a matchup game because X1's at 9 right now, man. And that's a 20-point difference for JDG to try to go through. And we're not even counting out Bauta. Bauta's still in the game. And so now it's up to them to see about the contesting between 2 players, or 2 teams, I should say. VVV kiting around. Man, we've seen so many fights around this zip code. It is crazy. VVV puts out himself here to try to go for your heal. He's at 70% rage right now, forcing out the chase here. OUG is hunting down the Borks, but Aishao, look at Aishao, man. He's just like right behind the enemy team, behind enemy lines. I'm about to say an Owen Wilson, reference, but we're not going to do it because we're going to have to see whether or not WBG can be very mindful about the position of looking at blue armors and thinking, can we take that fight as fast as possible? Because right now, Romy Yang is about to be coming up here in just a moment's notice.
Is anyone going to be in a position to be able to take it, though? Because all of these teams are still fighting. X1 and Alliance exchanging parting blows with the ranged weaponry. Is going to be blocked out by LYD's Wu-Chen Wind Walls. But potentially they run directly into SS1 now by trying to escape. This isn't going to be them contesting the Realm of Yang. This is them contesting Spirit Well. Aurora Burst is going to be revealed, but it's not going to be able to stop them from getting hit into that semi-ultimate, cutting directly on for. And ZDI with the charged RMB fan gets scooped out of the 0.9 RMB. And there's nothing that that team could have done. They get hit so incredibly low. Even with the Tester enchantment managing to connect onto the Takeda, they had to just use the Wu-Chen teleport and reposition before they lost that Viper.
Yeah, they're in a tough position. Assault Smolder, Yuma, Sunwing Shot as well. Poison Splash and Hex Harmony and Revenge. We're going to see a lot of range A's, like I mentioned, but the Vajra's Grip on peak, so he can throw as many blues as you want, but also a Swift Edge, if I'm not mistaken, about his use. So if he's got a katana and standby, he'll be wanting to use that. We'll have to see. But this man's going to be cutting around here as long as he can. This is something signature that you loves to do. He loves to go for those drop downs if he can for the blues, but he's also using it to try to hide the fact that he has F1 been activated. Now the F1 is down. His ultimate's up for the level 2 V3 ultimate. He's got to be very careful. The Zai ultimate's out, the Kermi ultimate's out from his own. So now it's up to seeing about the F2 being invested. Now he can reposition. Revenge is going to be locked in locked in his own spot here as a Zai procking, or his being ultimate to be procced out as NY7 repositions. Bauta U has ultimate still to go ahead and launch out. He's got Furin to go ahead and lock this one in, because whether or not Alliance wants to take this fight against the Takeda, he's got 4 Furins now down to 3 to work against.
Yeah, and it's all on the Zai. The Furin shove attempted to set up the Temi Wisp follow through. They're not going to be able to find it. As we can see, you just trying to come through with the charged RMBs, taking advantage of these players looking away from the Takeda. Does get hit into the Nessus, coming on for 1 Furin shove left to his name. Utilizes it now to be able to break away from potential grapple bump extension off of that uppercut found by the Matari. But it is just him having to try and win this clutch moment with the wind gusts. Gets 1 player low, tries to chase them down, has to turn instead onto the player with that spear, looking to hold him into the space that other player can recover, and that is going to buy enough time for the Zip to cycle back into an F cast, and that unfortunately, as we cut away, is going to be about as you cut down and having to revisit that Soul Altar as SS1 take advantage of all of these teams inside the Realm of Yang fight, and Sand Siphon composition yet again makes out like a bandit with a Spirit Well for free.
Yeah, they've been guiding that Spirit Well for as long as this time itself. They got 3 minutes, but they got to make sure XY finds elimination against Jing, as WBG loses one of the teammates going out at the Realm of Yang, so that's their victory. EWG working it out, making sure they secure top 6 for the fights inside Realm of Yang. It's kind of crazy, man. I mean, I'll be 100% honest, but then again, even after everything, and Takeda had his Furin to be available, pushing it aside. Furin Blast can only do so much past the point because it's not a lot of damage. It's just pushback, and if you're not close enough to capitalize onto it, and if you don't have grouped up enemies, the value of it goes down completely. Now, I did see you run through the Wisp to try to connect it off of the Furin Blast to kind of work off and lock in the CC, but then that's where Zai shows up and just goes for the F2 and then knocks back, or even Matari come back and knock back. See, that's the value that comes in CC control, knockbacks and just knockups if it comes down. And Matari's Xiphon does that in its full retrospect of how it operates.
WBG and Bada have been trailing each other for the past minute, by the way.
I was about to say, I was like, they're going to be going ahead. They're chasing each other now.
Yeah, they thought about resting in a more central area, but they've decided to go towards the outskirts of the map, but they're going to run into wolves. And that's the problem, because now they figured out that there's another team in the area that they can't go for this revive. Bada are like, wait a minute. We weren't the only team that was looking for a revive. Where did the other 3 players that were behind us go? And this is really bad for them, because the longer they wait in the soul form, the less time they have to actually cleanse Yang depletion. And you can see wolves have sensed something is up and are putting themselves into those buildings. They understand that there's going to be teams running around with either a Spirit Well that they've been able to capture, or there's going to be teams with Draco Storm, Mystic Might, or White Tiger's Prowess that they've been able to pick up from the realm of Yangwin, and they want absolutely no part of it, because Wolves are on 110.8 points, but Bada is just on the outside of 100 with 96, so Wolves' position still not secure.
Still not secure, man. Can be knocked out if anything happens, and the pop-off happens between bottom 3 of the top 6. Now for Cookie, gold pole sword on his eye. I would like to see the pole sword on the for the value for the Matari, but then again, we need scaling. We need to get that at least the extra bonus damage, and that comes out at a cost of just making sure that the quality of life of who has said weapons can work with it versus what is necessary. Because you're wrong, he's literally glass cannon right now. He's got we got 2.5 minutes right now. Gold Hong Sword, but blue armor, because why? He's a combo breaker, right? He can break out of anything in terms of the duration. Pistol shots coming in from peak. Now it's up to Wolves, JL, and Team Valor to just kind of see about what's happening behind, because JL is escaping from this point, but this fight's about to go down right now.
Yeah, Bada and WBG could have fought each other, but they did not. One of the teams backed off, and now they have to take a fight where they're potentially going to get third-partied. Viper Ultimate comes on through from Wolves XEM. There's going to be attempted recovery with Yiran looking to mitigate as much impact as possible with the Temi ultimate, but he is going to go down. Yu, unfortunately, was not in position to use those Takeda shoves and try and keep his Temi alive. We'll be able to turn on to Wolves that he gets enough damage to stop the Wu Chen teleport! No way! Wolves lose the Wu Chen before the TP can come through! And Bada find the turnaround. Unfortunately for them, Yuran did have Yang depletion, so when he gets taken down, he does have to come back in via Rebirth Charm. They cannot pick himself back up, but that is a huge play for Bada, who are so close to being knocked out of the top 6 and not making it over to the World Championship.
Absolutely ballistic moments right there with the staff and the fan. And the Fury and Blast come through. The timing to kill Wu Chen, and they were like, yeah, we're safe. And they were stuck in neutral. Everything came through. In fruition, forward right now, whether they can get the... we're going to have to see if the rest can happen, though, because, I call this area the holes, because there's a lot of holes here that, have loot in there, and there's like 3 of them, 4 of them. So for every one of these teams, if there's a safe seeker or a sun seeker, I should say, just try to stay out and out of sight, out of mind, it would be the play. But Sleepwalker, he is out and about. X1 looking to lock down. Look at the Wu Chen shield walls. He can't do anything, so he looks the other direction. He catches EWG's X-Eye. Oh my goodness gracious, they are deleting him, and it's not even in the case scenario. Everyone else is shooting out with crossbow bolts, and now is a course of action to get ahead and create cover, because this team is not going to slow down. They're going to go full aggro after this Tianhai ultimate deforms, or he uses that killing potential blow. Or he gets a V2 double grab and gets half his health back.
Gets another grab! And XLY potentially gets slammed. ZDI is going to make the play with the Viper V1, and unfortunately for Walker, he has to try and iframe through the hit of that Viper V1 activation. Even if he had been able to iframe it, he would have gotten enchanted by the Tesla ultimate that XLY threw out, just as a backup in case the Tianhai was able to pull it off. That's so unfortunate for WBG. However, Walker, off of the kills that he was able to pick up inside that ultimate, has given them an extra life. They had Yang depletion, and the Hardy was able to pick up a Soul Bloom and live. Question is, how much longer is Jing going to be able to stay, not standing, but flying? Because the second that this Hardy ultimate drops out, Bada are going to be collapsing on top of him. He's trying to kite over, but unfortunately, Bada not going to be able to let him activate that Forbidden Seal. JL also now spotting out that there is a player on the run, potentially turning in to try and get some third-party kill-stealing action. As now that the Tianhai problem has been solved, everyone just backs off and goes back to poke phases. We can actually see WPG's Jeng, health bar pretty full, was able to make it out alive.
I mean, the gamers, you know, I can't believe it, man. The man came out of the woodworks of Fight Zone and Bao Yu wanted him down.
Jeng, what are you doing over here?
He's chilling, bro. He's chilling. It's called, it's a new tech, you know, hidden but not seen. Okay, he got seen real quick. Jump LMB coming out here, a homie Messiah coming in friend my 7 for the jump LMB. And he also had Cloud Weaver, by the way. So, or I think an Aurora Burst. I have to triple check to see about that because LYD has an Aurora Burst. I've seen that one coming through here. They have been having this Jade with the blue Hong Sword for as long as this round came through for EWG X1. You know, it's just between both these guys. XI also got brought back up from the Rebirth Charm. So EWG are full capacity for the team. Now it's up to this last final 6 minutes and seeing who's going to get aggressed upon as as quick as possible.
Yeah, Alliance just trying to shred through some of these armors. These players, they will commit, but only onto teams when armor is broken. As we're going to be seeing Alliance, they have to be so careful. They're not running the Kurumi, they're running the Zip. And that is going to be problematic with the fire tick damage, especially this late in the game. It is going to be things like the Flamers that is going to be very problematic for these teams. It's the Gen 1 having to duck, dive, and dance around these musket shots coming through from Yuma. Oh my goodness! What an absolute masterclass of the musket put on by the Matari.
Yeah, he's flick shotting. I saw that. That's crazy. He shot and he whoosh, clicked and dragged, and he shot the second musket shot. I was like, okay, now we're in there. We're burning their high vitality, by the way. Vitalities usually are the lesser of the gear to be, or the supplies. Ironically, we saw ZDI, who has more, but it's usually the supply that's less. So he burns that white health as fast as much as possible. It's burning that resource, which is more crucial when it comes down to it. Spearwell, who contesting this? Because of, I know Alliance is about to have this into their stead, but JL, they're looking around and just trying to make sure. I think Alliance gets his Draco Storm. I'll be 100% honest.
I think so. JL definitely wanted to get just a sort of scouting idea of who was contesting the Spirit Wall and what they were using to, as we did see the grapple go through. But the second they scouted out that Aurora Burst and Cloud Weaver combination, you could see just the turnaround. For the call came through. JL were like, it's not worth it. So yeah, Alliance gonna be kiting out that buffer as long as possible. And again, we can see that these teams not wanting to fight the Spirit Wall team head on are instead turning onto the other team so that when that Spirit Wall gets captured, another team instead of them is the lower and more vulnerable target that gets turned on too.
Yeah, and now Alliance picking up the Draco Storm. Now they can go full aggro with a preemptive ultimate, and then they have a secondary one to be available. Viper ultimate's gonna come out here, NY7. Matario, safety save from Yuma to keep the aggression going. The king goes down. NY7 finding the 12th elimination for the team, and he still has Zai ultimate to be available after the disfigurement of this one. Once it comes out of his hands, he's ready to go for the fist blades. 1.0 releases, a little bit risky. I'm gonna be 100% honest. He's gonna go ahead and reposition towards the Draco Storm and just have this area. They're gonna have the zone control for just a couple of seconds more because now the teams are gonna be pushing this one here as EWG want to try to contest this with the Erudition and the fist blades and the daggers all in one.
Yeah, that Siphon composition with that V2 fire tick, especially given the fact that we only have one team with a Kurumi Siphon and one team with a Sand Siphon composition. ZDI comes in with a late Viper ultimate. The hopes of catching some of these teams without that Matari ultimate, but EWG held that Matari ultimate and now turn on to X1. ZDI is going incredibly low, burns all of his stamina, doesn't have any left to be able to dodge out of the F2, but it is Bowder that are able to capitalize off of the back of it. They see the Viper go low, they pull out the repeater crossbow. SS1 now coming on through with the Takeda ultimate from Gen 1. Still has 3 Fear and Shoves, make that 2 to instigate onto JL's VVV, but the Zai utilizes that F2 to reposition. The Fury Chef will be able to confirm into the charged RMB, but Wavefall comes and absolutely clutch to dodge out of the follow-up RMB pole sword directed his way, and SS1 losing the Takeda ultimate have to back on off and wait for that one to come back on through. In the meantime, Alliance, entirely unbothered, are just absolutely turning this battle royale into an FPS.
Yo, my man locked in, man. He looking at the bear 50 cow, boom, boom, boom. And now you NY7 forced the aggression and then to see the Kurumi ult to be proc, backs off completely. JL, they get a full reset for the armor. They're going for white health reheal. You got 2 minutes left on the clock here. NY7 still has ultimate to be available coming through here. EWG just trying to hold their ground here by using Erudition to block off the range shots. Not going to be necessary, so they're going to be using it to kind of push back. They find elimination. Yue goes down as Yuma finds a musket shot from the distance, and now it's up to Yu. He is so locked in, back and forth, left and right, crossbow back to Fan, finds an F1 usage. Guess what? We're gonna R&B dash away and then make me looking for an R&B off of Yuma. Yuma gets caught by the R&B Fan, and this is gonna be Yu's biggest position. Sees the ultimate, knows what to do next. He holds the ground for the teammates because if she decides to lock in, they are gonna go ahead and make sure she never has another day to breathe.
That Flamer is doing work. NY7 may have the fire tick damage, but does he have the means of sustain? We can see the Kurumi ultimate comes on through to stop NY7's fire tick from being problematic for Bowder to have to deal with. His Yu now utilizes that Takeda ultimate activation, gets the scoop with the RMB onto his opponent. Temi ultimate comes on out. All of these players now cut off from that space, forced into dealing with the Takeda up close and personal with these shoves that Yu still has access to. He's still got 2 of them. SS1 definitely looking like it's a problematic team for Bowder to have to deal with. They turn instead onto the other teams a little bit closer into the zone before now looking at SS1, forcing Ling to reposition, forcing the Kurumi into utilizing that tether and teleport, so it's not going to be online for when Bowder want to get aggressive. They're going to reposition themselves into that Temi ultimate so they can reconvene and start healing through, as well as getting to utilize all of the cannon pressure on the teams on the outside of the Temi ultimate as Bowder start running away with the kills.
Now JL goes down here as NY7 finds the elimination. We got an F2 in 5 seconds to say. NY7 finds an ultimate preempted. This is huge. Captures Yu. Yu does not have his ultimate just ready just yet. And that 1, 2, and the 3, and finds himself into getting the kills. NY7 looking at the team and making sure 18 becomes 19 to go into the 20 bomb. There is the V2. The ensnared catches Fang mid-air. And we know the last hit confirmation. Yaron goes down. This is going to give a 20 kill game for Alliance. That is impeccable for game 11.
Yeah, that's brilliant news for Alliance, but it's even better news for Bowder, because the team that popped off and got MVP and got last team standing and therefore got the kill multiplier, they're ahead of them in standings. Bowder are 6th currently in standings. They had a really good game. They got a lot of kills. They did very good in terms of their ranking placements. I believe they were 2nd. That Yiran was able to live just a little bit longer than some of the other teams in the area. Teams like JL, and crucially for them, one of the teams that took away MVP and took away kills the multiplier was not a team below them that had the opportunity to be able to Cuckoo's Nest push them out of that top 6 and absorb their position.
We have this to be the final game for CN Scrim qualifiers. My name is Severi alongside with Moxie. We're going to be going now here for this final round and seeing which 6 teams have the opportunity of getting the J Cup at the end of this year in November.
Well, it's going to immediately be Azov Peak getting contested by X1, FPX, and Alliance. So far, no full fight has broken out. All of these teams very much wanting to play as safe as possible in terms of picking up the loot before they take that fight. NY7 already getting their hands on purple nunchucks is massive. JDG already getting purple armor onto 2-Tick. Unfortunately, Jing has since gone down. And 2-Tick now is going to be coming under fire. Comes on through with the F2, but that does mean that the Tester Enchantment is going to be able to catch him on the tail end of that one. He's got to reposition before the enchantment can snap him down, as he is going to be incredibly vulnerable with that staff ghost. But the overhaul doesn't manage to find any of the punishment because the Tessa F1 is able to come on through and cover for it, as 2-Tick is just getting shredded by TE with all of that CC. That is the advantage of Tessa in the early round. You don't need 100% rage to throw your ultimate out before the other team is ready.
Yeah, Peak just went ahead and hit straight to 2 people. You got the kills against Leeway and XI from EWG. Cookie, last one alive. And now he's in stone form action. The blue focuses on the jump LMBs. And there is actually a firefight right there, but it was picked up. That's why we were here exactly at this spot, as Bowder is going to go ahead and get their teammate back up now, straight back to Azov Peak. We still have the fights between Alliance as well as the X1 going in the mix up as SPX loses that shot Q. Yuma gets caught by the uppercut. Free fist blade jump LMB. Homing Messiah comes out here. Yuma going to go ahead for the RMBs and just making sure, time it out, look around, and look towards the F3 for the Viper. Cool, we can go ahead and lock her through. There is going to be the attempt, but NY7 is not going to go out without a fight. As you can see in the background, the V1 from the Zipping is going to be proc, and now XOY is on offensive with the V2 Zai.
Yeah, force the Viper out of the way. X1 do know that potentially the V1 is going to come out against them, but they have been able to isolate these players of Alliance, so even if the Viper does come through, there's so much terrain to be able to block LOS. They don't need the materials committed to be able to counterplay it. As X1 know that they are so close to qualifying. Unfortunately, they were so close to getting the kill, but they're not able to take the Wuchen down. Have to turn instead onto this Hardy on the side of FPX to try and chase him down. Massive parry from ZDI is going to force the combo breaker out early. And now the Matari ultimate is going to be committed for XOY to get a reset of the F2 and keep this fight going up against another team entirely.
Yeah, X-Shot goes through, double parry coming in here to play. X1 is able to clean up past FPX. Zhao Q, 1 HP in a dream, gets caught with the F2 from the Matari. Eliminations have been made. 5 eliminations so far, X1. FPX having to look to go ahead and find the spots to go through. Otherwise, they're going to have to make sure they see about what's happening here because Alliance has shown up. They are full swinging right now. V1 Viper comes out. This tether is going to be active for the 5-second stun. 2-second drop time, 3 seconds for free. Blue focuses. And a parry coming out from LYD and a parry from XLY. Having the V2. NY7 has everything ready to go for this, but XLY is going to be looking at another test enchant, this time from Yuma. As it comes out, this is going to be Zhao Hu just staying alive and just hoping that he can make a difference with his team as they go right back in with that salty res.
Yeah, FPX, like you said, with the salty run back, griefing X1 in the process. Overhauled on the charge R&B, on the fist blades coming in through from ZDI, but Zhao Hu with these spear connections into the jump LMB, setting up his Hardy to come on out with that ultimate connection. Alliance in the meantime, Yuma up on the high ground, getting a scout to figure out what exactly happened to the other players that they were fighting, as Bowder fighting for their life, going to be having to go head-to-head against the Sand Siphon composition. Yuran with the F2, looking to reposition, but that puts him directly into the Temi ultimate. Still has his V2, manages to put enough pressure onto these players from OUG. They have to be very careful though, because that Bane's Breath is not Bowder's, it's OUG's end. Bowder having to reposition around the additional AoE damage is unfortunately going to not be enough for Bowder's Yuran to be able to come out on top. That is not the beginning to this game that this team wanted. They might have been able to find 3 kills early on, but going out this late means that they're losing a lot of that loot and the potential to go into the realm of Yang and scale into the mid.
Now X1's hunting down FPX. Zhao Hu at a 1 HP in a dream. Beautiful whiz throw, but he's still getting chased down. ZDI looking for the R&B, then a pulse ward in the back, and finds the kill. Elimination 8. X1. 8 eliminations. They are currently in 7th place with 105, 106.5 for EWG, and WBG are taking their fights against TE. TE having opportunities here, seeing whether or not they can spot out that Takeda F1 to be available. But 14 has that Volpine's Essence as they won that first fight inside of the Arcadia region and now forcing into the spot. WBG Sleepwalker, he has a nice somersault action to come out here and finding himself to kind of work and just getting closer to his team. He is not sticking to a 1v2. He wants to make sure that he is connected with the posse. And in JL, they have a position to really invade this fight and seeing about who's left alone, because 14 emergency ulted for the V1, spreading everyone across, and 14 just looking to try to lock down 1 or 2 players, and none is going to be the nunner, because JL are still looting up the bodies because they still haven't even thought about wanting to invade this, and they have all the opportunity to do so.
WBG turning onto TE, JL also trying to collapse onto them, and JL's one thing will be the one that walks away with the kill claim. WBG now walk up with that fan, utilizing it not to go into a fight, but to reposition with that skill rush. As TXJ closes up the distance, they're trying to force this Temi to utilizing that combo breaker early so they can come through with the Viper and Tessa ultimate enchantment. The Temi doesn't have the combo breaker to be able to iframe out of the CC. Manages to frame out of one of them. Will be able to come on through. However, the Tessa F1 to knock the Temi back means that they're not going to be able to rally around the position that the Temi has provided them. And JL just trying to back on off long enough so that their Wuchen can teleport VVV, who was incredibly low, out of the fight. There's JDG and EWG. This is a very important fight going on down. EWG 106.5 points, X1 105 rather. If EWG go out of this lobby early, that provides an opportunity for either X1 or T or even JDG, if they have a pop-off game, to absorb their position and go to the World Championship instead.
This Forbidden Seal is a crucial point right now. Takeda Fury and Blast comes out. Tutik can go ahead for jabbing hits with the staff. Now, who's going to Forbidden Seal this? Kurumi has best benefit in the play by activating Forbidden Seal right now, and that's going to be the case. See, this is going to be where Kurumi Hold can still stand. She can't recast it, but it's going to be available. There's going to be the jump element coming out here. Tutik's going to be looking for the jabbing again and again. Liwei almost catching the double rollout. He's finding himself a regen, and as a result, Tutik backing away. One grapple in a dream, one reset, and that's all it takes for them to decide upon backing away from the springs. And for this EWG, oh man, you know, it's like right there in the zone, and they have no ultimates to be available. It's blue armors versus purple with Tutik and Jing, so now it's really case scenario for them to be lucky to be alive. But it's also the fact, I just realized, that their Takeda is actually on F2. So if they can catch him by the neutral, they can catch him by the wrists and say, you're going to jail, R&B spam comes out from the teammates. And if everything comes out for that reset, it's also the case it's the lower cooldown, and it's going to be a surprise.
JDG are ghosting EWG. They're very much looking to see where this team is going to come out away from the storm damage into. But even going into the storm damage themselves just to keep a track of the location of the Sand Siphon composition. They're not careful. They're both going to run into a stacked up team, patrolling the outer edges and looking to try and take on any teams with a couple of players or even some equipment short in comparison to what everyone else has been able to accrue. Lue is going to be able to pick up one Firefly that puts himself up onto a nice chunk of rage generation, so he will have that V3 when the fight picks up again. There's Alliance and Bowder. Bowder thinking very much about going for that Spirit Well, seeing that Alliance were in a position to better take it and just reposition before another team can get drawn in to that point of interest and look to chunk them down, because Bowder is still on blue armor and they have to play incredibly safe, understanding that that spot is precarious, because JDG have to win this Realm of Yang.
They gotta win the realm, and they just locked Tutik in the blink of an eye, bro. I can't believe how fast he just got deleted. And now SS has full culpability to go ahead and Takeda Fear now, because there is no Zai to stop him. And now the Batari is going to be the only thing that keep that pressure on. SS going for Fear and Blast, connecting. Oh my goodness, the deletion. Stop it, please. He's already dead, man. SS is looking towards his Kurumi recast and making sure Jing is going to be the last one alive. Maybe looking for a parry. In the meantime, we switched off. We went to a different fight. Bowder is going to be fighting out between TE, Bowder, blue gear, but they ain't stopping the pressure. Viper Witch and Tessa inside the Realm of Yang. Word? All right, that's going to be the case.
Yeah, but unfortunately they don't have the teleport to get out of the way of the fire cone coming in through from Yuran's Zai V2, which is scaled to purple rarity. TE falling apart under the focus fire from Bowder, and that was one of the steps that Bowder needed to tick off if they wanted to comfortably get through game number 12 and qualify into World Championship, because that Realm of Yang win immediately gives Yuran a legendary weapon, legendary dual blades on this Zai to be able to come on through and have a legendary scaled max attack Zai ultimate. As we can see, all of these teams that did not go into the Realm of Yang just playing into the invisibility bushes, hoping that they don't get a bounty put upon their heads.
You know, it's crazy too. He also got Kabloom in that same chest.
The same box.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, man, that's dangerous.
Crazy.
That's a difficult position to find themselves for the enemy, at least. JDG finds a parry in the face of OUG Xingyu. Terrible timing right now. Might be potential for the turnaround for a drop down, because Kiki is deleted. Jing might be the next one going down. JDG finds a V2. Unfortunate circumstance. Takeda outside of the zone is going to try to go ahead and reassess the escape pattern, because both of these guys are going to be hunting this one down. I know SS doesn't really have much of an issue here because his teammates there. That leads out JDG. They are fully eliminated from this game. OUG takes the 3 eliminations, now up to 9, and keeping 3rd place to be at a steady pace. X1 was hiding in the bush. We saw it from earlier. They are really looking for position, because 8 eliminations, all they got to do is hope to see in that 6th place, see some sort of downfall. But TEJ and Chase, Bowder on the hunt right now.
Yeah, Bowder don't know how close the teams are to taking them down, so have to just continue being aggressive, especially with this Vermilion Bird's Might. We'll be able to get the kill onto TE's 14 before the Witch and Teleport can come on through. Were TE able to pick up that player and manage to break away from the players of Bowder? We can see Leo and Wash are still up, but no, it does look, unfortunately, like TE, because they had Yang depletion, Witch and Teleport coming in late, did not give them the opportunity to get that player out before they went down. And so the only way that they'll be able to pick up that Viper is with a Rebirth Charm, which is not good, considering the fact that they are on Yang depletion, and Viper is one of the main engagement tools in this composition. Also not good is the fact that they ran directly into a full force X1 who had their ultimates, who had the F2, and were able to just collapse onto these players from TE who've had to split themselves apart in the hopes of prioritizing one of their players to live, maybe pick up a Reaper Charm and start the very slow recovery process that it's going to take for TE off of the back of this to qualify to World Championships.
Yep, OUG taking fights against JL. Vermilions are burned. R&Bs, jump LMBs. VVV finds it. This is 8 eliminations for JL right now. So they overtaken first place, and now they're completely solidifying it from the point from today starting to now. For JL, they're chilling out, man. I mean, listen, they got blue armor on Fang. Doesn't really have a worry in the world because we still have 5 minutes until, or 4 minutes until Romeo kind of goes ahead and closes out. And for Arcadia being where they're going to be ending up, they have Twilight's Fall to make the rotation now. All around the south side, though. EWG. Still holding out with that one elimination, and it's tough because I'm looking at whether or not Bauda is going to have any sort of difficulty. They've been stacking up kills left and right, and they're a position above them. So for anything,
and EWG have been slow burning. Like they've been taking themselves into places that they don't think players are going to be. They've been slowly just looting through all of their resources. Haven't gone into a realm of Yang. So granted, didn't put themselves under Yang depletion where they would have to over-aggress. But still, remember what we talked about at the beginning of this round? How if you're not careful and you play too passive, you play for that end game, potentially there aren't enough players left in this lobby for you to be able to find the kills to qualify. And that's one of the problems that EWG might well run into. Because if you compare them to how Bauda have been playing, Bauda have been tearing through every single team they can find them. They've just been gunning it all the way, full sending it around the entirety of this map, taking on every team, every realm of Yang. And they've got so many kills and so much loot to show for it. But not only that, the kills that they've been able to pick up, they're not the only ones that have been going aggressive. OUG have 11, Wolves have 7, JL are on 8. Do X1 and EWG have the opportunity of being able to hold their position? Because X1 have also been getting aggressive. They're on 9 kills. EWG on 1, even if they're able to play to the late game. If they get a kill score multiplied to a low score is still a low score multiplied.
It's crazy too. It's just like, I'm looking at whether or not X1 has, 0.5 difference as placement points right now. And up until this point, X1 is just holding out. Spirit Well, Invasion. I see it. I sense it. I'm going to see a Scion Fang and a Scatter Shot for XLY with a Barred Bolts. I'm going to see a Velocity Untold on ZDI. Hoping to see if he's going to be popping through here because we know JL wants to take this Spirit Well as fast as possible, but the contesting is going to be had. OUG, Bauda taking the fights in the Romyang. Gold gear, gold weapons, armor pierce on you, as well as taking the chances and seeing that the Cav Bloom in play. This is going to be a nasty fight here, folks, for the Romyang as Bauda takes the fight against OUG.
Yuran tries to come on through. No! Sends the horizontal focus into the Takeda and immediately has to go over the shoulder. The F2 does get reprocced by the Matari ultimate. Yuran still holds on to his ultimate, but Yu is going incredibly lower and lower and lower. Bauda looking for the isolation, trying to save that player, but the Temi ultimate is making it so much harder. Yuran having to sprint through so much of his F2 to be able to reposition outside of that dome. Does have the chain scythe, is able to put the pressure onto these players, but unfortunately the Fury and Shove just continues to connect onto Bauda's players, and they're just playing in full recovery state currently as this side is just getting bobbed all about the shop with the shoves.
This is going to be a chance for Veron for the F2. There it is. I'm looking for the drop down blue focus from the pulse sword. A lot of HP lost. Veron goes down. It's a one person left, and that's going to be you, but he is caught by the uppercut. That's OUG's cleanup crew right then and there. Bauda, under the circumstances of Realm of Yang depletion outside of Realm of Yang, get Wolves XCM in the fights. Dreadful Whale picked up here for OUG. This is dangerous. He's got a gold fan, so he's definitely going to be looking to convert that for SS. That Dreadful Whale will work out tremendous in blocking down. Of course, off to the eastern side of the Imperial region, X1 Mystic might pick up from the Spirit Well. Them actually picking up 10 eliminations. They have now surpassed EWG, 0.5 difference. Now is a chance right now for Bauda to look to hunt around if they need to, because EWG, listen, they are stacked. I'm not gonna lie. Purple weapons in the build and only one blue armor on the field for themselves with purple armor on the other side. It's gonna be a predicament. The Mystic Might's in effect. X1 may not be near them, but the moment comes down towards whether or not teams are just gonna go ahead and strike it. Draco Storm Wielders can literally pass by the bush and then boom, 3 lightning strikes from the ground, and that's gonna be a full team send out.
Yeah, JL guaranteed for OUG, guaranteed for Alliance, guaranteed for Wolves, unless there's a major mix-up coming on through from Bowder, X1, and EWG, where all three of these teams are able to score incredibly high, guaranteed through. And that is the problem. EWG is still on 1 kill. X1 are on 10. Bowder do have 7, but they do have Yang depletion. They're going to be hunting, trying to figure out whether or not they can find a team. We can see Bowder's U just currently looking around for anyone. X1 have spotted JL hiding inside the purple invisibility bushes. It's not EWG. And that is what EWG are going to be absolutely terrified of happening right now. They know that teams with Yang depletion are going to be on the field. Bowder just trying to figure out whether or not there was going to be an actual fight for them to try and res into and third party. Seeing that no, the aggression did back off, going to have to be thinking very carefully about how they want to try and take this fight. They've got 3 minutes and 35 seconds left before Yang depletion takes them down, and they are just in full scouting mode. But because we only have 17 players, this zone, this map, it's so big. I don't know if Bowder are going to be able to cleanly run into anybody else.
Yeah. The Imperial Camp is going to be their spawn baseline, and this is going to be 3 minutes. Now, their only options is the bell rotation from here into the Ascension Forum. After that, it's up to them to go straight into near to the Ballista Tower, way out, or go straight into the hull and just seeing what's going on. Yuma dies out towards getting the zone, so that's going to be a res coming through. Actually, that's a full wipe for Alliance, so Alliance is, they're already qualified for the baseline of the scores. For everyone else now, this leaves out to predicament. Bowder hunting down JL under 3 minutes under the clock. I saw that gold post for TXJ. You better switch that back up there. There it is. Losing out all his armor. Yaron looks to be F2. The engagement is met. These guys are fully committed, and now it's going to be the dictatorship of seeing whether or not they can go ahead and be the ones on top.
Kessler Enchantment connects onto Yuran. That's going to lead into the Viper ultimate, but the Matari ultimate comes in clutch. Yuran will be able to dodge the Viper V1. Didn't manage to get the enchantment onto the Matari, and JL utilized that Wuchen teleport, hoping to kite out the entire duration of Yuran's V2, and we do see him cancel it out. Bowder, this is not what they wanted to happen. That's the reason why they didn't want to take a fight against JL. They scouted it was a Wuchen team. They knew that the first time these two teams went head-to-head, they would have to force the Wuchen teleport before coming back in when the ultimates are denied, and we go into neutral. Viper F3 from TXJ is able to connect onto players from Bowder. Kurumi ultimate comes on through, trying to keep them alive because Bowder kept ultimates in the back pocket, but the Tessa has another enchantment ready to go, and that's going to connect onto multiple players from Bowder who are going to get snared up, but it's inside the Kurumi ultimate. Despite that, JL have the damage and the Viper F3 to hit their heal effectiveness, and Bowder lose too many players.
And they lose all of them in this succession. Yaron going to be the last one out here from one jump LMB to another. Bow shot from the distance. Bowder goes down for this going through in the season. Now it is only between X1 and EWG. EWG out of Ascension form right now. Holding down the fort, looking around, making sure they can keep themselves and their toes peeled because OUG is right around the corner, and this is a sand siphon with a gold staff. I'm not going to have a good time if I see that fight XU, because now X1 rushing down the cliff sides onto the northeastern side of Ascension Forum. They're able to see everything coming out here from a bird's eye view. They can see any opportunity coming through. A Temi Circle, a Takeda Ultimate, a Tessa Enchant coming out. Anything of the nature can be procced out, and they'll be having the eyes and ears to see it all, just to see the opportunity to knock those teams out, just to have some extra cherries on top of the cake.
Speaking about knocking teams out, X1 and EWG have the opportunity to knock Bowder out. Bowder have 113 points. X1 have 108. All they need is a couple more kills and a good ranking placement, just like EWG, to be able to come through and push Bowder down to 7th out of the 12 teams currently in this lobby, but they have to play it perfectly. OUG and Wolves going head-to-head over the Spirit Well. We've got Dreadful Whale coming on through in the mix already on show. Kurumi ultimate does get forced as the King went incredibly low. They're going to be able to cover their backs with that Dreadful Whale that we saw them pick up from that Realm of Yang win, as SS with his Takeda ultimate tries to set up into motion all of the follow-through damage. Do EWG try to make a third-party play? They've shown up. This is the first time that we're probably seeing them take a fight, but they immediately back on off.
man, they just want to incite, you know, a little sprinkle to the action because now the stanchion is clean. Holy smokes, we're going to see the elation coming out here. ZK goes down as SS is going to be the one left alive into the format. There's another jabbing reveal. Now HQ is going to be going ahead. See the Tessin champ might even want to re-aggress. And there's JL CXJ with the Classico F3 knockback going through. Leeway going to go ahead, have the tether active for as Cookie keeps his team going through. They want to contest the Spearwell for all it's mentioned, and they haven't even popped an ultimate yet. Cookie on that blue armor will be a nice stand-up and seeing a gold armor be picked up, especially with the effort coming through. 70%, 75. We're going to see Wolves going to go ahead for some rebirth charms. 80%, 95. They get this Spearwell. This is Draco Storm. This is a huge gear upset that gives EWG at least some drive and looking to clean up shop. In the distance, they see it all, and they're going to make sure this is their own.
They have to take advantage of this Draco Storm that is going to last for the next 100 seconds, and they're turning onto X1. They don't know that X1 are the team just ahead of them, but oh no, they just grappled directly over the head of one of the X1 players. Oh, disaster, sir.
No.
They're spending so much duration off this buff, not actually in a fight. Everybody else repositioned in anticipation of the Spirit World capture coming on through from a team that wasn't them. And EWG haven't been able to lock down a single player until now. Is it going to be EWG taking down X1 and taking over their spot? XI is there with the Temi. The Takeda able to come on through with the F ability. EWG trying to lock down these players of X1, XY having to literally sacrifice himself for the betterment of his team, for X1's two other players to reposition as XLY is able to juke EWG with the run back from the low ground to the high, and it's falling apart for EWG. Finally, they get to take a fight where there are multiple players around them taking advantage of all of the J's that they've slow burnt into. Cloudweaver comes on through, but the Moonbane comes into play, and EWG still have not been able to find a single kill. Zai V2 comes on out. Cloudweaver onto these players that are isolated and held into position with the Temi ultimate, managing to interrupt before the Zai V2 can turn the tables onto EWG, and off of the back of those two kills, make that 3 kills. They overtake X1, who are down to just the only Zai trying to live a little bit longer.
I am in confuddlement, bros. Listen. Moonbane placement in Imperial Camp could have been better. Could have been better. The fact that the Zai didn't get hit from that one Moonbane blast got me kind of confused. But now EWG in the lead, 110 to 108.5 to X1. If I gotta be 100% honest. Oh, smack. If anything comes out from XOY, where he catches second place, and maybe one elimination, it's a Jover experience. But EWG had expended their ultimates except for Kurumi. Cookie got that ult back up. Another Spearwell. I don't even know what Spearwell this is because I'm looking at the reactions of the players from X1. I want to see what's going to happen because JL are nothing short of the wear. They have all the availability. Dreadful Whale having the chance of getting locked through. That's a dangerous spot. But they know the Tessin chance down, so they know she ain't going to be going ahead and building up Rage unless she gets a Soul Bloom. And to their knowledge, no one has died yet. So if she can't do that immediately, they back off and see about the investment. But they have the Spearwell to their own. And if JL takes his Spearwell to full value, they could go ahead and hunt down anyone that they're liking and pleasing.
XLY is going to be so vulnerable on the side because that F2, it's not a combo break. If he gets scooped up into any combo extension, he's done for. As EWG are getting aggressed onto by JL, the Viper. Oh no! It was there 1 second and gone the next. And JL are able to come on through with this Mystic Might that's going to give them a lot of information. EWG not going to actually try to reposition. They're going to greed the revive. And suddenly they're reduced to just the Temi. And he's going to get hit into by the Tesser ultimate. Has the meter dump coming through from the Nunchucks. Also has the Tumult ultimate. Utilizes the combo break on the F ability to stop himself from getting enchanted. But EWG's XI is right next to X1's XLY. This is the most important 1v1. Who's going to be able to win it? XLY with the overhold on the fan shot. R&B is able to find it. Manages to put the Temi down low enough to force the ultimate. XI having to force himself back onto the other side of the window so that the fan doesn't manage to chase him through. Is potentially going to be a vulnerable target if JL turn onto him instead. As XLY with the skirmish puts himself onto the high ground, and XI is the one that everyone turns onto instead.
I'm on my arm rest right now, XI, man. You got to go ahead and just stay alive, brother, because that's a one person you can't die to. JL on the top floor, though, taking fights up against Wolves. This is a whole different fight between two Titans to the matchup in terms of gear and probability of just being at the top of the leaderboard for a TXJ. Finding the V1 stun, has to be able to find the stun off of ZK. He finds it. That's going to be deletion. We know this. We see the pulse sword action coming crazy from TXJ. He has F3 back up again. XCM might be knocked back here for a spare rush out in the midst of the hilltop, the buttery rocks, the group heal. This is going to be where JL can take the exception of going through XCM, take him the fight. The V2 active from XCM. He wants to try to use it as often as possible. Nice R&B, bro. Uppercut the LMB, making sure the R&B's to the staggers, and one R&B to the next. A cab bloom from TX to get the kill steal, and that's going to be a place of points. So we take the soul bloom. We're going to go ahead and have the F1. The test and chance good. It's clean, but we have no ultimate, and XI won't be safe enough here. All it depends, though. Who is he going to give the kill to? If it comes to JL, it works out, but XLY looking to try to go for last hit confirmations. He's still up. The chant has been already depleted, and he's going to head to the high ground. XI, don't you dare, bro. Don't you dare get hit by that gold focus. His XI, he's just kiting around. He's got ultimate in 8 percentage points, and he just tries to survive.
He's got full meter dump as well on the nunchucks. They're still trying to keep the chase onto him. Throws out the wisp, points the connection onto VVV. Has the ultimate connection. Tries to put it on through, but gets chased down in X1 with XLY claiming the kill. Should be able to put themselves into 6th position and over to EWG at the last possible moment. Potentially, but no! He doesn't find another kill!
That's it. They had more kills overall. They get that 6th spot, and they are locked in for 6th place, getting it through. Wow. Holy smokes. Man. Edge of my seat the whole time. Okay. I love it.
That 1v1. That 1v1. The fact that we saw the Temmie get pressured and he tried to reposition and reset right next to the Zai, who spotted immediately that the Temmie was alone. There was no other team that had Sand Siphon heroes. There was no Takeda. There was no Temmie. It was